Warning, the following podcast contains spoilers. So if you don't want to know that Kirsty's stepmom is cucking her dad and banging Uncle Frank, stop listening now.
The International House of Horror.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the International House of Horror podcast, a low-budget podcast for low-budget horror movies. I'm your host, as always, Rocco, aka the Mad Pancaker, and sitting across from me is none other than my co-host, Scary Perry.
Hello there.
How's it going over there, Scary Perry?
Got a little bit of the jitters.
Jitters?
I can't get any of the stuff anywhere.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Do you have to check into the Stuff's Anonymous over there?
Yeah, something. I feel 100% off.
Yeah. Maybe it was that horse semen that was
Oh.
that J-Bones mixed in there.
Well, I need something.
Oh, that's what I forgot to do. I was going to tell J-Bones to call in again. I had another setup for this episode too. Oh well. Anyway, so before rolling to cutting that out. Before rolling into hotcakes, one correction, because I was talking about which movie was based off the case of the Charles Dexter Ward. It was The Resurrected with Chris Sarandon in it that I was talking about. It was not The Unnameable.
Right.
Different movie, because I was trying to remember which one that one. I think that one is just based off of that movie, a short story or of the same name, The Unnameable, but neither here nor there. So, dive into hotcakes real quick here. So I guess I should fill you in for those first-time listeners. So hotcakes is our brief introductory segment where we talk about...
Brief?
Well, it's like the warm-up. We get warmed up here, relaxes us a bit. We talk about stuff we've been watching, horror-related or horror pickups we've picked up, either, movies, toys, games, that type of stuff. Also, anything recently going on in horror news. I wish I had more horror news stuff going on to talk about, but I always forget about like the newsworthy stuff. Like
I just can't wait for Halloween ends.
That is coming out next month. And speaking of which,
go see it.
Oh, for sure, I definitely want to see it. Although last time we streamed it last time because we streamed it the day it came out, right? Because it was that Friday.
Halloween Kills?
Yeah. Because it was also it came out in theaters and streamed on Peacock at the same time, I think.
Oh, the cock. Yeah.
But anyways, and then I think you were talking about this, and then we looked into it a little bit about they're doing not like a re-release, but putting in theaters for Halloween, Dawn of the Dead, 1978, 78, 77? I think it's 78.
Sign me up.
In 3D, no less. So
sign me up. I don't care. I'm really not a fan of 3D, but sign me up.
Yeah, I'm interested what the 3D is going to add to it.
But our theaters around here are shitty, so I doubt.
Yeah, but
we'll
to see it,
to go far.
But to see it, it's supposed to be at our local theater.
No shit.
Yeah, you're the one that even said that when you were first looking it up.
Oh.
Yeah, Regal, right?
I have selective amnesia.
That's okay. I'm pretty sure that's what you said. Because then, for those not in the know, but Regal's got a little bit of a financial trouble going on. I don't know if they filed for bankruptcy yet, but it was something they were talking about. Because I remember you were talking about if they don't close down or something along those lines, which they wouldn't close down immediately, even if they went into bankruptcy.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So
52 days.
Yep.
That's
till Halloween.
50?
Oh, more on that later.
52 days?
Because I think it's only in like theaters for like 3 days, like
yeah,
like the 28th or 29th through the 31st, I think. So right on Halloween, if I remember. I looked it up a little bit. Or I didn't look it up.
Actually, it's going. It's showing it's going. It stops on November 2nd.
Ah, there you go.
28th.
I didn't look it up. The overlords at Google listened to our conversation, and then when I was scrolling through random shit on Google, it was like one of the first things in like the recent stuff that you would be interested in. The walls have ears. And the phones. Anyways, so I guess I'll kick things off with some hotcakes here. My first hotcake, so a movie I watched on Tubi. Actually, I had to look it up because I always like to watch a movie before I watch certain reviews on YouTube that I like, just to get like a premise of the movie. So the movie was, it's a Japanese film called Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. So that's like the English translation. So it's also known, it's big for being known as the Japanese Evil Dead, because that's pretty much the basics of the story. It's like Evil Dead, but in Japan. So very fun film. A lot of like blood, gore, that type of stuff. You know, if you've seen Evil Dead, you get the premise. Go to a house, get locked in, supernatural stuff, shit happens, people get possessed, that type of thing. There's some cool claymation effects in it. You know, claymation is kind of hit or miss. You know, it doesn't really blend in well with most modern stuff unless you're doing entirely a claymation film.
It seemed like claymation was semi-popular in the, I'd say, mid 90s to early 2000s.
Yeah.
Not
But I
really.
mean,
Because celebrity death.
yeah,
match, you know.
because the original Evil Dead has a few scenes that are stop motion with claymation, like fanning the evil.
Then 80s too. Sorry.
Well, I mean, but in movies, you know, I mean, there's stop motion, but then there's claymation is stop motion with clay
did
stuff.
Beetlejuice have some claymation?
It definitely had some stop motion. I don't know if the things were made out of clay or not.
Okay.
It might have had a little bit. I'd have to watch, and because it's easy to point out when it happens, but I think it might have had a little bit. It definitely had stop motion for sure with some stuff. But this movie was a really fun time. So there's no English dub to it, though, from what I understand. So it was entirely subtitled, which is fine, though. It didn't take away from the film at all. I prefer English dubs just so I can, hear people talking rather than have to read the subtibtles to understand what's going on.
Sometimes when I read the subtitles in this kind of, foreign languages, I start getting tired. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's nice because it can help you pay attention and keep you awake because you have to read. It's not that long. It's a little over an hour, I think. It's an interesting story, though, because it was filmed in, mostly in the 90s, but I don't think it came out till, 2012 or something like that, or maybe 2008. It came out way later, and then, because they added in some new reshoots and stuff after that, so there's a few, the generic, almost YouTube-style effects on some things, with the special effects, that type of stuff, but it's a very fun ride. I'd definitely give it at least 4. Maybe 4.5. It's really fun. If you've seen Evil Dead, you know what you're getting into. It was very entertaining. So I'll throw it back to you, Perry. See if you got any hot cakes.
Well, I got cakes. What? Recently, me, you, and Murky Maldor.
Is that the name he's getting?
I don't know. All right. Anyways, so yeah, we watched
figure out a nickname.
The Video Dead.
So we watched that too. I do have the Scream Factory 2-pack with. I think it's TerrorVision is the other movie on there.
I watched probably maybe 75% of this film before I went on
we
my
started
full
real late.
tilt boogie.
I was conking out a little. I was slapping myself.
I
At
one point all three of us fell asleep at different times.
I was nodding off, but I'm like, no, I gotta stay awake. So
what I got from what I watched though, it's really cheesy.
Oh, for sure.
The acting is pretty horrible, but
it's fun, cheesy, the acting.
The special effects in that are pretty damn
Oh yeah,
good.
they're really good. The only knock I have on the effects is some of the blood is really watery, but there's not too much of it.
So short premise is this TV is haunted and it gets passed around or whatever, and zombies come out of it. And there's this one scene where
the zombies come out of it.
Where it's the TV is lying flat on the floor and a zombie head pops out of it, and it's the coolest scene. It just looks really good.
Oh yeah,
even for
and the zombies look really good.
Yeah, and the kills and stuff are good. I mean, from what I saw, it's pretty darn good. For a crap movie, or not crap, but just a B movie.
Yeah, it's a cheesy B movie.
I mean, I got to watch it in full, but I give it what I saw 4 probably out of.
Yeah. 4's pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean, I like
the cheesy acting because I don't know. It's just
I think it'd be like a 3.5 for me.
I know me and.
But I mean, anything 3 or up is an enjoyable time. But
me and Murky Maldor were kind of riffing it as it was going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easily riffable movie, but it's a fun movie. I really enjoy it. Like I said, the zombies are pretty cool looking. It's got an interesting premise too.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. It was a fun time.
All right, back to you.
All right, back to me. So, been on a bit of a Giallo kick again. So, watching some Giallos, on crossing some of them off on Tubi. So, the first that I watched...
Is Tubi our sponsor by now?
They should be. Have you ever seen the Tubi commercial where they advertise Tubi?
I may have seen it.
I'm like, I think I know about your platform, Tubi, considering I'm watching your thing. Did they run out of sponsors? So like it's like, well, we got to plug ourselves this week because we don't have any ad sponsors to put in the spot. Better than all those condom commercials they keep trying to show.
Yeah, they have some really weird.
Oh my goodness.
They have like very few commercials that it doesn't come like real fast like how it used to back in days when you would watch something for free, but they're just the weirdest.
Yeah, it's also weird. On certain movies, the commercial breaks are way longer. And on other ones, especially like some movie you've never heard of, you maybe get like 1 or 2 sometimes during a commercial break, which is hilarious. So I watched a film called The French Sex Murders. So, So,
ooh la la.
Ooh la la indeed. So I forget who directed this one. I think
Was it Strickland?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
I think, if I read correctly, though, because I did a brief read about it just to refresh myself, I think Bruno Mattei edited it, or at least part of it, which is interesting. Notorious Italian exploitation filmmaker, Bruno Mattei, or Mattei, however you pronounce it. Basic premises, this prostitute gets murdered, so everybody suspects this one guy who was obsessed with her. But then he dies, he gets decapitated in this motorcycle chase, which is pretty cool. Which the motorcycle chase is hilarious, though, because when he gets decapitated, I forget how he gets decapitated. I want to say...
Like a wire or something?
It's even stupider than that. I want to say it was like these 2 guys. The stupid, guys carrying shit across the street motif.
Yeah,
I think it's been a while since I've seen it. I could be wrong. It could have just been... Because I remember this truck bed being down with something, so maybe he hit something that was hanging off the truck, like a saw or something. But I want to say it was 2 guys carrying a pane of glass, like horizontal.
Yeah.
And then his head just went, shoop, neck went into it. Almost kind of like in The Omen when the glass comes down and cuts off that guy's head. Kind of similar to that. It was okay. The twist is kind of interesting. Not to spoil it here, but it definitely would make a good spoiler though, because it gets a little weird with the twist there. Because I won't delve into it, but there's definitely some taboos going on here that are being lived out on some prostitutes, and it's kind of one of those that. I mean, the guy's in the movie a decent amount, but it's like the lesser seen person in the movie, or the least suspicious person is the killer. Not to the extent of some other giallos where like some random guy who's in like maybe 2 scenes just like the killer. Those are always the fun ones to guess because it's like, all right, I have no idea. All the red herrings have been getting killed off. Who's the killer? Well, it's probably this one guy that was back in the scene. And I nailed it on one of them that I watched one time back in the day. I think it was the case of the Bloody Iris. I'm like, it's got to be that guy who's that person's father that was like in like 2 scenes in the movie. And sure enough, it was hilarious. And you don't find out the motive, of course, until like right then and there. Because you don't know anything else about this guy other than like the 2 scenes he was in where he said like maybe 1 sentence. But it was a fun time. I'd probably give it about a 3. There's definitely some interesting stylish choices. It could be like a 3.5 though. Not like the best of giallos, but it's still entertaining. It was weird though, because a lot of times during the kill scenes, like it replays the image of the kill happening. But it changes the color, and it's got like this stinger noise that goes bow, 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 as like, the knife's coming in or the throat's being slit or something. And then it changes like color. It'll go like green, blue, yellow. But the first time they do it is like...
have like a seizure?
Yeah, the first time they do it is with like somebody being like their head smashed in with like a candlestick or like some like little, like just bludgeoning somebody's head in.
Yeah.
And it's weird though because it's changing colors. And I just assumed, because that's the first kill that they do that way, I just assumed that he was hitting her repeatedly and that was killing her that way. But no blood or, marks were showing up. I'm like, what is going on? Why is it there's no, like, that's kind of like cheap. But then I realized when they actually get to like a knife murder, it's showing the same scene repeatedly and changing color. I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't showing repeated strikes. It was the same strike, but with a different color. So, which was a
rainbow kill.
Yeah, it was an interesting, stylish choice. I mean, I always like bright, colorful stuff that people do in that type of thing, but it was a bit, like I said, jarring with the first one. I'm like, man, how cheap is this? Like, they're showing the same thing, but they're just replaying the clip and like nothing's happening to her face. What a cop out on the violence, and the blood. So that's that one. You got any more hotcakes real quick, Perry? I know you didn't have many this week that we were talking about beforehand, but
I don't think I'm out. It was a bad
no problem.
Few days. I don't know how long it's been. I've been at the gas station eating stuff for a while.
You've been waiting for the reshipment of the stuff.
Yeah, and then stuff gives you some weird after effects. I've been on a toilet for a while, so I don't know.
Were you in the Motley Crue Master of Puppets bathroom?
Yes, I was. At least I got to look at a cool poster while I did my business.
Right. Yeah, you didn't move the Sting poster from beside the Darth Vader and put it, or the Sting picture from beside the Darth Vader and put it in there with there.
Yes, I did. I had Sting and Motley Crue.
There you go.
Watching me do my business.
I swear, we gotta look that scene up. I gotta show it to you because I swear it's Sting. Because I even looked it up on my phone.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, down the Boudoir magazine from
yes.
April Fool's Day. I need to get it.
I would totally have Clayton Ronner sign that. He'd probably like look at me and like, what the fuck? I'm signing this pornography for this guy, or maybe he would get it. I don't know.
I get Tom F.
But if you don't know what we're talking about, listen to our April Fool's Day episode, and then for the other efforts, listen to the last episode where we reviewed the stuff. So next up, I got another Giallo. So who saw her die?
I did.
Oh. So this one, why didn't I write down the director for this one? I forget who it was, but no biggie. I got the people.
I think it was Luciano D'Argento.
Swing and a miss.
You combined two.
But it stars George Lazenby.
Oh,
James Bond. I think I can't remember. I think his ass might not be on the list of male celebrity asses I never wanted to see.
I thought you were just referring to his name as his ass, and then I was gonna make fun of you. But
no. It's okay. Maybe it might be like a side shot, but I think it might have. I forget if you got the full George Lazenby ass experience or not.
I'm good with Bond ass. I'll pass.
But so we got another Bond alumni though in this. Adolfo Celli. He's a big Italian actor. I forget who he plays a villain in a James Bond movie. I don't know if he plays Blofeld in one of them, because Blofeld's been played by a couple different guys. You know, it's like the old, my face gets changed a bunch all the time. But I think he played. I don't know if he played Blofeld or not in one of them. I don't even remember which Bond he's in, but he's been in a Bond before, and he's kind of another stereotypical Italian bad guy in a lot of these movies. He's appeared in some other Giallos. I know he was in the Eye in the Labyrinth. That one's got an interesting twist. And then so we also have in this one Nicoletta Elmi. She's a girl in this one, so she's been in a lot of Giallos in general. She makes a brief appearance in Deep Red. In this one, she's more featured. I don't know who did the dubbing for her voice, but there's this infamous little kid dub voice for Italian films that dubbed in like The House by the Cemetery, this character named Bob, and he does like a lot of like the same little kid voice. I'm not 100% sure if that's the voice, but I'm like, it's a little jarring because I think it might be, and I kept thinking about, Bob from House by the Cemetery, this little boy, and I'm like, but it's voicing a little girl. But she's been in a lot of stuff, and as she grew up, she was in several other Italian films. I know she's in Demons, produced by Argento as well, and then directed by Lamberto Bava, so she's got a bit of connection to Giallo's, Argento, and other things there. And then Anita Strindberg. I know she's a big Swedish actress. I've heard of her before. She's made the Giallo rounds as well. So in this one, the whole thing is George Lazenby's daughter ends up dying and trying to figure out who killed his daughter. And it's connected to this like cold case from a few years back. So there's a tie-in with that. But it's interesting because I'm like... Because the only reason George Lazenby's daughter, which is played by Nicoletta Elmi, gets killed is because he's off having an affair. And then, she dies and he gets back together with his wife. I think his wife's Anita Strindberg, if I remember correctly. Or Strindberg, however you pronounce her name. But it was another interesting one. It was entertaining. Probably right in that 3.5 range. Like, it's not like the best of Giallos. The twist is a little It definitely is another one of those person who's not in the movie a whole lot. But it kind of is the only person that makes sense, though. Yeah, probably like a 3.5. I don't think it's like a 4, like getting into some of like the better twist or better Giallos.
So Adolfo Celli, he played Emilio Largo.
That was
Thunderball.
Yes, Largo. Good call there.
He played him, but the voice was dubbed by another person.
Oh yeah,
Robert.
That's not unusual.
Reedy. Yeah.
So next up, in the last Giallo, and then the last film I watched before we go into some other hotcakes. So we got The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, which is a Giallo from Sergio Martino, and it's got Giallo regular Edwidge Fenech, and I've heard that name pronounced a million different ways, and I have no idea how to properly pronounce it, but she's been in a lot of Giallos. She was in I don't know if I talked about this one last time. Did I talk about or maybe the time before? It was from one of the Giallo Essential Collections. I think it was Strip Nude for Your Killer.
I think you have.
Yeah, I think I mentioned she was in that. If I remember correctly, if that's the one I'm thinking of that she was in. It also has George Hilton, another Italian regular, Sergio Martino regular, and it's funny because I'm always like, well, when George Hilton shows up, there's a good chance he's the bad guy, kind of like Adolfo Celli. Not that he was the killer in Who Saw Her Die, but he was definitely not on the up and up in that film by the time you get to the end of it. And not to spoil it here, and I won't spoil it, because this one's actually got a pretty good twist to it with everything that's going on in this story. And basic premise of it is that Edwidge Fenech, she's Mrs. Ward, she's married to Mr. Ward, he's an ambassador, I think an ambassador in Italy from, I forget what country, it could just be America, it's not important to the story. And she's kind of got this like love triangle thing going on with like a past ex like affair lover, and then she's like having this other like kind of sordid affair with George Hilton. And the whole thing is the strange vice is like when she is with her ex lover was like kind of not like abusive, but she had like a weird like blood fetish to get off on type deal that she's kind of sort of still into. People start dying around her, and it's like, well, is it her ex lover or that type of thing going on? And everybody thinks she's kind of going crazy a little bit, but Sergio Martino does good work. It was definitely a fun one and a lot of cool visuals in it. I'd probably give it, this one probably definitely clocks in at a 4, especially it's got a really good twist ending that kind of ties everything in together, and it was a very, like I said, I didn't expect it coming. I'm like, okay, so it's this guy maybe, or this guy, or maybe it's both of them working together, and it's not to spoil the entire thing here, it definitely would make a very good spoiler intro, but very good twist ending for Giallo, which they're very known for having sort of twist type endings like that. Probably easily a 4. Sergio Martino does good stuff. And then, so one more brief movie thing, but I won't go into detail about this, but as you know, I do blog posts on my website, madpancaker.com, and so I posted my second blog post reviewing the pseudo-werewolf film Mom from 1991. So I recommend you check it out, give it a read, and see what I think about that movie. It was definitely a fun little one. It was interesting, kind of dramatic, made you think. Kind of a bit of a tearjerker because there's a lot of, I mentioned in my article, there's a lot of kind of subtext going on there, connecting to like real life issues with aging and stuff like that. Now, for this hotcake, so you can't see this because no video. I haven't taken pictures yet, but I will be taking pictures and I'll be posting them on.
I can't see.
It's that side effect from the stuff.
I can't see
it's
right
the
here.
stuff withdrawal. You lose your eyesight, temporary blindness.
I can't see.
But I'll post pictures on my Instagram, Facebook. You can follow me at the Mad Pancaker on everything. So got some toy pickups.
Everything. Never heard of that app.
So all these I picked up from my local comic book shop, All American Cards and Comics. So they got 2 locations, one in downtown Warren, Ohio, and then they got their second location in Boardman, Ohio. And I'm a frequenter of the Warren location. Not to give away my actual location whereabouts. We're in Parts Unknown, just like the Ultimate Warrior, right? He's from Parts Unknown. That's where this diner's located at. I mean, good luck finding this diner. It's in Parts Unknown. Yeah. Feel like we took a wrong turn at Albuquerque, as Bugs Bunny would say.
Show me what you got.
And I know the owner personally, Greg Bartholomew. He's a great guy.
I know him too.
And free advertising for Greg. Great shop. Lots of comics, pop culture stuff, games, card games. You got Magic the Gathering.
I grew up going there. We used to play Magic a lot there.
Yep.
Other various card games along the way.
Oh yeah.
When I was collecting Funko Pops, so you go there and get some Funko Pops.
So if you're in the Northeast Ohio area, feel free to swing by. Great people, great staff. They'll be more than willing to help you out. They got all sorts of collectibles. And they got some horror action figures and toys and stuff that I picked up. So first up, we'll go with these. So I got these They Live figures, and these are of the aliens, and they're in black and white as if you're wearing the Hoffman lenses. Which next time, for the next episode, I might have another hot cake in reference to They Live, but for now. And the packaging is really cool as I'm showing them to Scary Perry because
those are
rather than...
reaction.
Yes, these are reaction figures.
Those are cool. Right?
So rather than have like an actual mock-up with They Live and then like a list of the character or whatever, so since these are the aliens, it's just a plain white card back, and they got the different phrases on there, like this one, the guy says obey, and then this one says submit. And then on the back where they would show like maybe other figures or like some of them have like almost like a background you can cut out and like set up if you want to. But on the back, it just says in white, collect them all. So it's got that very cool They Live visual going on. So if you want to check that, I can pass these out over to Perry so you can check them out while I'm doing this. So then next up, I got...
Where's the Rowdy Piper figure?
I don't know if they have one, but that would be cool. That'd be something to pick up. So next up, so this is from the new Creep Show TV show series because it's modeled after him. So I got action figure from Fig Biz of the Creep, and it's cool because it's got like a lot of the little props from the first few episodes. Like it's got the finger, it's got the coin from the one episode with the gold coins from that guy who spits up gold. It's got the head from the one Dollhouse episode. Forgive me if I don't remember the episode names. It's been a while since I watched them. It's got the beer can from the one thing, not generic beer, but whatever that beer was from the episode. I had the first one with Adrienne Barbeau.
Big Tits Barbeau.
Yep, she was in the first episode of season 1. I don't know if I watched season 2 yet. I think it's recorded upstairs. I gotta check them out.
I got so much stuff to watch.
Oh, it says right here. It includes Haro's beer, the monkey paw, the genie's coin, the haunted head, and the finger. So
I have the Creep, the Funko Pop Creep.
Oh, that's a pretty cool one. Yeah, I was looking for that one. I think all they had at the card shop was the Scarecrow, which I'm like, I could take it or leave it.
I think it was like when it first came out, I got it, yeah.
Yeah, so...
It came out probably a little while ago.
So I got 2 more real quick. So both of these next ones are NECA. Which NECA, they do high-end quality toys. So first one I grabbed here. So we got this Evil Dead Ultimate Ash from the first Evil Dead. So it's definitely young Ash here, as you can see, where he's still got like that weird-looking haircut. He doesn't quite have the Evil Dead 2 haircut yet. Very cool-looking action figure. It's got multiple different heads you can put on there for different facial expressions. It's got the chainsaw, it's got the little recorder, and the lantern, and an axe, and the boomstick, of course.
Boom.
So, and it's cool because it's got that old school 80s VHS cover with the little horror green sticker on there. So, very cool looking action figure. NECA always puts out some nice high quality stuff. I think like the Ultimate line is a little bit step up from their regular figures. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think the regular figures...
I mean, this really looks a lot like Bruce Campbell, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like the articulation.
Yeah. Yep. And then so the last one, before we can dive into the movie prop here, so I got The Thing. And this button's all nice, shiny, and reflective and holographic. So it's Ultimate McCready from Outpost 31. And open it up here. So it's got him, and it's got, again, multiple different heads you can put on there. You can go with the regular head and throw the cowboy hat on there, or go with the ones with the blue like parka hood over his head. Oh, man, I just now noticed this. It's got... they couldn't get the rights to it. Boo. But it's got a bottle of scotch, but it's not J&B. Because in the movie it was J&B, but they probably couldn't get the license. It just says KJ. So what is that? Like supposed to be King James? It's hard to see, make out the writing. I need like a magnifying glass or something to read it, but it's cool. I just now noticed that. I'm like, oh man, what I always wanted in life, an action figure accessory of J&B.
I have some NECA figures of Pennywise.
Oh, I don't
know if I have an ultimate
figure.
One.
So
it is a fake. Look at that.
Yeah, it's KJ. I don't know. It's hard to see that little writing on there, but there's a lot of actual detail on that bottle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says KJ, but I don't know like in like the little black writing if it says.
Well, they list some of the props here in the back, so they might just call it like.
Yeah, they probably just call it scotch or whiskey.
It just says bottle, and then when they show them on the back holding the bottle kind of sideways. There's a K, so I think it's KJ.
Yeah, I could make that part. I'm talking about the actual, like the little black writing.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know what JV says on it besides the J and V.
I think there's actual writing on there though, like the small writing, like it's actually legible. Like I said, you'd have to blow it up though to see what generic scotch they called it.
See that, yeah.
It's generic scotch, also made by generic beer.
Jeez, I can't even read this. I don't know. Yeah, I can't.
All right. Anyway, so that's all my hotcakes. So like I said, I'll be taking some photos of those and sporadically posting them on Instagram. They'll probably be up by the time you're listening to this episode. So like I said, you can check them out on my Instagram, The Mad Pancaker, Facebook, The Mad Pancaker. You can get them on Twitter as well, or at least the link to the Instagram. So multiple ways to get it.
And the Everything app.
That's right. Before we dive into the movie proper, shout out to our patron, AJ Sabino, as always. So come on, people! I want to say some other people's names here.
Yeah, get patronated.
You can help support our podcast. Become a patron, as they call it.
Patronated.
Patronize. No.
Peacock.
Patronage. Because patronize is like, well, I guess, is patronize the same thing as patronizing a place? Or is that just putting down somebody like they're lesser than you, like over-explaining something to them? Was that a word with two definitions, or is patronage the proper word that I should be using?
I don't understand the English language. I don't know.
That's why they say it's the hardest language to learn, man, especially if you're not native to it.
I think you got to Google it.
Neither here nor there. Yeah, you can support our podcast at Patreon, patreon.com/themadpancaker. You can help make our low-budget podcast less low budget and get a shout-out on here. And we also got tiers where you can pick a spoiler for the intro to the episode, or for the highest tier, the $10 tier, you can choose a movie for us to review.
$10 isn't that much, guys. Come on, pick a movie.
$10 a month. So
a month. Yeah, it's not that bad.
But
it's less than the subscription to Netflix now.
That's very true. And you get all this quality entertainment. Plus, we'll probably try to do some other stuff. I'd like to do, maybe
stuff?
We could... No, not that, the stuff.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I know you can't get enough of it, but...
I'm jonesing over here.
I know a lot of people like to do some commentary tracks to movies. We'll have to figure out how to finagle that and do a commentary track or something like that. Maybe do some bonus video or something. I don't know.
Bonus video!
Maybe if we ever get a... video going, we can do a video version of the podcast.
Oh,
then
boy.
You could actually see all this stuff.
They could see my sexy mustache then.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, moving on. So, moving on to the film we're reviewing today. So, theme of this episode is Awful August, except in September. Apologies, but got a little behind, so,
Early September.
Yeah, we'll just call it Sucky September. It's like awful, or just Awful August in September. We'll go with that. You could have voted on my Facebook page to vote for the movie, and that's the other thing. You can vote as a patron as well. The polls go up on Patreon as well, and when you vote there, your votes count for double if the poll is also on Facebook. Plus, eventually, once we get enough people on Patreon,
I think
we'll do some exclusive Patreon.
I'm
sorry. Yeah, once we get enough people, I might also I'll still do some like public voting where you can vote anywhere, but there will be votes exclusive to Patreon. So only patrons can choose that episode.
I think Mr. AJ there contradicted himself. He voted for one thing on Facebook.
He did.
Then he got
when he voted,
dose
he's like,
Patreon.
You know what? This one person wants this so bad. I'm gonna vote on this one.
Murky loves this movie.
Yeah. Oh, he loves it. All right. And the choices were Things. I don't know if we dodged a bullet not having to review Things, and this is because I found out there's another movie named Things. They're both on Tubi, but this is the notoriously god-awful, I think it's a technically Canadian film, if I remember correctly. I could be mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm.
Not even, I think it's porn star Gingerlyn?
Oh, there's a porn star in that movie?
Yeah.
Why the hell did we watch that movie?
Yeah, because not even a porn star could save that movie, from my understanding. It's supposedly, it can be so bad it's good, but I've also heard that it's just god-awful. So, I think I think there is some brief nudity, if I remember, but I've never seen it, just going on reviews I've seen people review it. So that was the first choice. The second choice was Slime City, which is another cheesy 80s, very low-budget, independent movie, and lots of slime in it. So... I remember watching it way back in the day on Amazon. It got a good chuckle out of me, so that one might have been a so bad it's good. Another choice was Mountaintop Motel Massacre.
Oh,
got all the alliteration there. No. As much as I have a few minor nitpicks about The Shining that holds it back for me, this movie is like garbage compared to The Shining, and it's garbage compared to many other movies that are nowhere near as good as The Shining. Yeah, so I tried watching this one time, and I just gave up halfway through. That's how boring it was. And then, so finally, to today's movie review, the choice that won, based on the votes from Facebook and Patreon, Hobgoblins, 1988 film, written, directed, and produced by Rick Sloane. And before we move on to the cast, so it's funny.
Sloane.
Because I didn't realize how many movies on my Watch Later list on Tubi were actually directed by Rick Sloane.
There's that look like all
that aren't Hobgoblins.
Vice Academy movies.
3 out of the 4 are Vice Academy movies.
Blood Theater.
Blood Theater is on my list. Is that
came
show
out
me the poster.
Before, the poster. I'm sorry.
Of Blood Theater. So if it's the one, because I watched that one already, but it is on my Watch Later list for potential review.
And then,
that one was it's a kind of interesting one.
I warmed up to they don't have links to, but The Visitants.
I think that one's on
Mind, Body, and Soul.
There's one that stars Wings Hauser that's on
Good Girls Don't. They don't what? I don't know. Babe Watch, Forbidden Parody. And then...
Yeah, I think he went into porn like a lot of people did.
There's this Marked for Murder. And then 2 sequels to this movie.
2? There's 2 sequels to Hobgoblins?
Oh, no, it's a... Excuse me.
One's a documentary.
They just listed... It's a Wikipedia goof. They listed it as Hobgoblins 2 and then Hobgoblins, the making of a disaster piece.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So it's a making of it.
Gotcha.
That one or this one? I don't know. If it's this one, I don't... whatever.
But I'm looking forward to Vice Academy because it's got Linnea Quigley in it. And I think Ginger Lynn is in it from Things. Maybe.
Is it horror?
No, it's like a sex. It's a sex comedy.
It looks like porn.
It's probably very softcore. But it's like
it was on the USA Network. It says.
Yeah, it's one of those low budget 80s sex comedy things. I forget. I know Linnea Quigley's in it. There's another big person that's in it, and you know Linnea Quigley.
Big as in
a female that shows her tits a lot.
Elizabeth Catane? I don't know.
Elizabeth Catane. I mean, she's kind of well known. I think if I remember correctly.
I just clicked on.
Who's the other people in it?
I don't know.
I know we're getting off on a side tangent
about
the filmography of Rick Sloane.
It doesn't say much. It just says Linnea Quigley, Ginger Lynn, and
Ginger Lynn. That's the one I was saying. That's I wanted to know.
They don't have a link. Julia Parton.
I just wanted to know if Ginger Lynn was in it. That's what I wanted to make sure I was right. I don't know if she's in Things though. It could be a different porn star. I'm thinking of in Things.
Ginger?
Yeah, Ginger Lynn. Was she in Things?
Give me a second. She was. A lot of these are porn titles, so.
Well, yeah, because she was a porn star, and then she went to regular acting.
She was in Ginger Snaps.
I did remember seeing
what
that.
year did Things come out? I don't see it.
It was 1980 something.
Unless
late
she did
80s.
It like in between porn.
Could have been like Amberlynn or somebody
Maybe
like that.
She might have done it in between porn. Oh wait, this says that's her adult fan.
Oh, you know why? I think it's Ginger Allen Lynn.
Hold on.
Which could be a different person.
Mainstream movies.
Why don't you just look up Things? It'll tell you right when you look up Things.
Well, I like to do I don't know. It was listing all her pornos, so.
You could just look up Things. It'll be faster that way.
Oh.
Did you just... All right, I'm moving on.
I had a brain fart. What am I doing? I don't
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We got off
You're
on...
like so concerned about who the chick is in this movie.
We got off on a...
Amber Lynn.
It was Amber Lynn. See, 2 different Lynns. Both porn stars. Related? Unlikely.
Well, actually, that's... No. Well, no.
Yeah, that's probably their...
Lynn is her middle name.
Yeah, probably their stage name, so... Enough about the filmography of Rick Sloane. So this movie stars Tom Bartlett, Paige Sullivan, Stephen Boggs, Kelly Palmer, Billy Frank, and featuring Tammy Bake, however you pronounce that last name, Bake, whatever. Dwayne Whitaker, Jeffrey Culver, Kevin Kildow, Carrie French, Darren Norris, James Marbury, Ken Abraham, and the Fontanelles, which I'll get more about that band later. The creatures were created by Kenneth J. Hall, and the music by Alan, let's give this one a roll, Dermarderosian.
That sounds about right. Yep.
It actually came off the tongue a lot better than I thought it would when I typed it in the notes. I'm like, that's a mouthful. And I just listed everybody that was listed in the opening credits there because I have no idea who half these people are. Although I'm sure they probably appear in other of Rick Sloane's work. We open with an empty parking lot by some warehouse-type building with a wolf howling, perhaps at an off-screen Full Moon Entertainment logo. And we got this young security guard, and he's jamming out on his headphones to some generic, cheesy 80s goodness when a older, elderly security guard comes up and scolds him for not taking his work seriously and for not hearing the phone ringing. Except the phone didn't start ringing until after he took off the kid's headphones. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the intent, but it seems like... Yeah, seems like it was like he was supposed to be listening and the phone was ringing at the same time he was listening, but that's not what happened. I'm like, oh boy, we're already off to a great start with this movie and its continuity. So they go on their rounds patrolling this large studio while ominous music starts to play. And the old man, his name's McCready, he warns the kid not to go down to the old film vault and then gets a call on the radio from the boss and leaves the kid to finish the patrol. So I got a brief aside here because so let's bring this figure back over here. So do you think this guy is McCready's father from The Thing? I mean, they share the last name. That's what I'm going with. I think this guy is like...
You're never going to let me on this podcast again. I've never seen The Thing.
That's okay. I didn't see it till...
I love Kurt Russell, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it took me a while to see it. It was something I always wanted to see.
Diabetes, isn't that right?
Yes. A. Wilfred Brimley.
Right, yeah. No, but yeah, it's on
Keith David.
It's on the list. So I couldn't give you an answer to your question.
Well, but you see, Kurt Russell's character's name is McCready.
His name is Mac Creedy, not Mick.
No, that's how I spelled
Mac
it in here.
and Mick Creedy.
I think his name's McCready in
Does
there.
Does it look like him?
No, I said it's his father. That was the joke. It's his father.
Oh, I get you.
That's what I'm going
Way
with.
over
This is
my
his father.
head.
And
Way over
he's
my
probably
head.
very proud. He's probably trying to tell this kid.
This is too holographic.
He's probably going off to the boss to tell him all about his son off in Antarctica and how he's proud of him for being in the. Because I think they're in the military, and it's like a military base in Antarctica.
And how he drives a Pork Chop Express.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Anyways, back on track here. But of course, the kid doesn't heed McCready's warning and goes down to check it out anyways, closing the door behind him. But it slowly swings back open. So maybe it's a ghost. So McCready, he's being chewed out by the boss for not answering the phone that only rang once quick enough. Back with the kid, though, so he stumbles upon the vault, and it's encased in this like metal bars, almost like a prison-style thing. But apparently no one could be bothered to actually lock the gate, and the kid just walks right in and opens the rest of the vault. Kind of like in Betrayal at House on the Hill now. You don't have to unlock the vault anymore. Boo.
Bullshit.
So we hear some growling to go with the ominous music as the kid looks around to investigate. But then we cut back to inside the boss's office. And McCready hears a crackle from his walkie-talkie, and he jogs off to investigate like he has crapped his pants. Like when you're seeing him jog here, it looks like he's like, oh, I'm crapped my pants. I don't want it to go everywhere. Type, you know what I mean? Did you see that walk that he was doing? No?
Yeah, I saw it. I saw the walk. I remember.
Yeah, you looked like he crapped his pants.
Yeah, it was really weird.
He was doing like this generic old man walk, but it looked like he crapped his pants. So meanwhile, the kid has stumbled onto a performance stage for a band. And that sweet 80s generic music kicks back in, and he starts to dance with the mic, pretending he's a rock star, pretending he's like the lead singer of the Fontanelles here. But he rocks out too hard and falls off the stage, and as McCready arrives to find him, we have kill number 1, let the bodies hit the floor. The concrete floor broke the kid's fall, and his neck apparently, along with cracking open the side of his head and spewing blood all over.
There's a lot of what the fuck moments in this movie for me. This is one. It's full of what the fucks.
Well, it doesn't quite make sense immediately, but it makes sense later on when you find out about
No, it doesn't make sense.
About the Hobgoblins.
I don't even give it. It doesn't make sense.
Hobgoblins. Do you think... So do you think if I could breed a hobo with a hobgoblin, I can create the ultimate hobo-goblin fighter?
Yeah, I think...
For the bum fights?
I think you're onto something now. You've heard of cockfights.
Clarification, we aren't involved in bomb fights.
You heard of cockfights, but have you heard of hobo?
You'd have to listen to our Chud episode to get the background on that.
No, don't listen. Oh, actually, listen.
Well, listen to our Chud episode. Don't watch Chud, though. McCready, though, he just frantically locks up the vault, leaving the kid to decompose and stink up the vault. Then we get our sweet title card, and then it kind of flies off and materializes out a neon green color along with the opening credits. And
the movie's over, right?
Not quite yet.
Oh, damn.
So after the opening credits, the boss scolds McCready for another new security guard quitting. This is the third one. Geez, you telling me this is like the third kid that got killed by the Hobgoblins? So McCready claims that he can handle the job by himself and they don't need anyone else. But the boss isn't having any of it and that they need another guard in case he can't make it. And he also explains that if something were to happen to the studio while no one is on duty, their insurance would be voided. I'm sure that's not going to matter later on in this movie. Not at all.
Nope.
But McCready, he counters that the studio has been deserted for 30 years. Yeah, about that. Then why does this guy still own it? Like, what good is it doing for his business holdings? He should dump it and flip it to reduce his property taxes. The boss tells him he better hire someone who isn't going to quit, or else he's going to hire someone to replace him too. So we cut to McCready, and we have no context of time here. Like, is this the same night, the next night? Who knows?
Yeah.
But it's still night again, and he's with his new security guard hire, Kevin, our protagonist. So McCready, he likes the cut of his jib since he seems like a mature young fellow. McCready shows him the ropes, and he takes him on his first patrol of the studio, jawing Kevin's ear off with his random old man stories, and Kevin sucks up to him like the goody little two shoes he is. Don't worry, people. We'll get to some Adam Ant horror movies eventually. I bet you didn't know those were a thing, did you?
Oh,
you know, goody little two shoes, Adam Ant. Adam and the Ants sometimes, as it's called. Yeah, Adam Ant is in a couple horror movies.
Oh, boy.
Not too bad. I've only watched one, but it wasn't too bad. Fun little side tangent, though. But in that movie, there is the movie Spellcaster that he's in, but it's got this disc jockey personality, And he was in another movie I watched that's just like an 80s, I'm not quite sure how to describe it. It's like an 80s song singing dance movie with Trancer Hunter, Helen Hunt, and is it Sarah Jessica Parker, I think? A young Sarah Jessica Parker's in it. And like I said, Helen Hunt, and then somebody else who I forget off the top of my head. But this DJ guy that was in this, I first saw him in Spellcaster, and all of a sudden he's in this movie. Yet the movie's called Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Like I said, it's this 80s music comedy. I don't know, coming of age. I don't know what to call it, but I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same guy. Anyways, get back on track here. As they approach the hallway leading down to the vault, that eerie music starts to kick in again. And MacReady asks him to trust him completely without any explanation and to stay away from that area because there is a lot of dangerous machinery in that area. And Kevin agrees and they continue on their way. Well, that is one of the smartest decisions I've seen in a horror movie. I guess the movie's over then since he's not going to check it out. Check, please! Oh, well, not quite. But Kevin asks if there is anything else he should know, so MacReady whips out his piece. Did you like MacReady's piece, Scary Perry?
I do like Dick. You notice during this scenes with this gun, he's just waving it willy-nilly.
Oh, yeah, I got that in my notes.
Like, in the guy's face?
Yeah, I got that in here. I have down, after some of the most atrocious gun handling this side of Alec Baldwin in Plan 9 from Outer Space. I'm not going to badoom-ching that one. That's a little too soon. But anyways, before I move on to the... So yeah, it's not really... He didn't whip it out. He whipped out his revolver. You think it's a 38 special? I mean, it's a real caliber. I'm not asking because I'm not trying to make another band reference.
It's not a real gun.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's a prop.
Oh, okay.
It's a fake gun.
I thought you were asking me.
But I think it's...
So, anyways...
It looks like a typical caliber. A 38's a typical revolver caliber.
It's a $5 toy cap gun they bought.
I kind of figured.
$5? That's expensive.
So, and he wants to show Kevin how to use it, just in case. I'm sure that will never come up ever again. And as I said, after some atrocious gun handling, we cut to the next day as Kevin comes home from work with a video he rented and is greeted by his girlfriend, Amy, and two of his other random friends. Names coming up here. So the one girl, I believe her name's Daphne, I have it later on in the notes here, she grabs the tape and scolds him for never bringing home anything from the adult section. Her boyfriend never brings anything without a single X rating. This is my kind of woman here.
Oh, God. You got another one.
His girl, Amy, that's his girlfriend, says that Kevin would never want her to see anything like that. She turns to Kevin and asks her for his confirmation of this. But he's too busy staring off thinking about how he could have rented Linnea Quigley's horror workout. But her question snaps him out of this and he agrees with her. So outside, a van pulls up, honking its novelty horn. And I forget how the horn sounded.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
I think
have it down here. So.
Was it like almost like the General Lee's horn a little bit?
Maybe.
Oh God, that I was trying to do the inflections and my voice did not want to do it. And inside, the one friend, the girl, Daphne, she recognizes it and says it must be her boyfriend, Nick, back from 2 months of training in the Army. So do you think his training involved hauling some drums of 2,4,5 trioxin around?
Maybe.
Busting it across the country? Do you think he lost a few drums somewhere along the way?
It's not a bad question, Bert.
Don't remind me, I need to get sound bites. We're working on it. So Daphne adds, you know what a man wants after being away for 2 months. Hey, Perry, what does a man want after being away for 2 months?
Ho-hos.
Okay, we'll go with that. So Nick, he's in his basic training uniform, and he comes out and does some arm pumping and thrusting motion. And he's like, woo! Thrusting like his pelvis. It's just, I'm like, oh, man. And then Daphne, she steps on the porch and does like this weirdest dance where she's just like shaking her hips back and forth while her arms are moving up and down like this. You can't see what I'm doing, but trust me, Perry knows what I'm talking about over there. He gets the gist of it.
Shaking my head. So
she runs to him and they embrace, and he just casually tosses his sunglasses on the ground and leaves them there. Oh, so her taste in clothing is questionable at best. She's still got like regular shorts on, but like with this skirt that's like the see-through skirt or tutu almost. I forget, well, it was like a pink or a purple or something, like see-through. And it's just weird. And she's got like a neon green shirt on.
Some 80s stuff.
Very, very 80s. I think her shorts are pink too, to go with the purple see-through tutu skirt thing. So she sings the line, "Whoa, everybody have sex tonight," as they enter Kevin's house. Hey, Daphne, I'll be the one making the musical references here. Oh, so do you want to get sued by Wang Chung? So then Nick gives her a slap on the rump for good measure. So Kevin, he's clearly jealous of the two because his girlfriend's kind of a prude. He should have found himself a smoker. Remember, kids, if she smokes, she pokes. As they hang out in the living room, Nick regales them with details about his basic training, like the firing range, complete with sound effects. Pew, 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 pew. Kevin tries to one-up him by bragging about his gun at work, but nobody here is impressed with the size of that thing, and Amy is more interested about how Nick used his weapon. The innuendo here is fully implied. They are not very subtle about it.
No, there's no subtlety in this.
So the other guy friend, Kyle, he asks if he can use the phone to call his girlfriend, wink, wink. So Nick adds that he hasn't had a chance to shoot anyone yet. And yes, that is important to him. Maybe he can go with Bill Murray and Harold Ramis to Germany and get this guy some action in their Winnebago. So meanwhile, Kyle, he pulls out his phone sex listing magazine to call up his girlfriend, Fantasia, dialing the number 976 SCAG.
SCAG. I got it here. I've called it. I can't tell you about it.
There's no area code listed, though, so I'd love to call that number.
I use every area code in California.
Right.
I got it on the 77 track.
So the sexual innuendo in this phone call is hilarious. She wants to make the movie she's going to see rated X. Perry. Why did I put Perry there?
What?
Oh, I was going to say this to you, Perry. So she wants you to make the movie she's going to see rated X, Perry. Hey now. If only this movie had an X rating, it might be a little bit better. So she wants you to enter the rear door, Perry, and drop your pants and give her a Full Moon Entertainment logo. So she wants you to roll around on that sticky floor.
Okay, Slime City, calm down.
Hey, is she talking about this dump with the sticky floors? Hey, Delores, you ever gonna fucking mop this place?
You ever go to the gas station next door?
Well, I'm just talking about the sticky floors, man. It's as bad as the sweaty palms.
Sweaty palms. Hey, man, look at my
sticky floors.
Sweaty palms.
And this floor, this is a sticky floor.
Sweaty palms.
And this is a sticky floor. And what's this over here? Another sticky floor. Jesus fucking Christ, Delores. Mo Rutherford is trying to tell you to mop the damn floors.
Do you have any of the stuff here?
She ate it all. You know that. Fucking bitch. Then she wants you to leave her naked so she could be the second half of the double feature. So the second feature is an Italian movie then? Oh, man. So I got a hot cake for next time, but I'm saving it for next time because there was a pickup that just came in. Oh, man. More nudity. Questionable content, too.
Oh, boy.
Based on the supposed age of the characters. I'm sure they're probably adults, but another one of those. Am I going to go to jail if I talk about this or watch this movie?
Like Sleepaway Camp?
Kind of, except I know that person was an adult with the photoshopped head of a child on it. Anyways.
Well, I'm not talking about that part in general. I mean,
I think everybody was of age in that movie.
Just the sheer.
Well, yeah, the younger people. I get what you're saying.
I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
So Kevin interrupts his call and asks if the call is long distance because he keeps getting mistakenly billed for all these sex line calls. But Kyle just shrugs it off and saying, "Really?" before Kevin walks away and he can finish shooting his gun off in his pants. Back in the living room, Kevin's nagging girlfriend scolds him for not paying attention to Nick's combat training stories, comparing Nick's military service to his shitty job guarding a rundown dump. Hey, J-Bones, I didn't know you hired a security guard to guard this dump. So in response...
Wait. J-Bones owns this place?
Well, he's the chef, I'm assuming he owns it. I think maybe I secretly own it through some backdoor holding companies. Yeah, this thing's just like a entire mob front for the bum fights.
Whoa.
This is where I money
Bums?
Yeah, this is how I money launder.
You mean Hobgoblins?
Yeah, the Hobgoblins.
Gotta use the right vernacular, sure.
And again, people, no bum fights involved. Listen to the Chet episode for that reference. I feel like I gotta explain that reference every time so we don't get canceled and people are like, these guys fight bums. They're terrible people. And yes, I have a dark sense of humor. You know, I don't believe in bum fights. Anyway, back on track.
I think you do.
I told you that chick in college thought I was the bum fight kingpin. I don't know why. Could have been all the gold chains I had around, you know. I don't know, like was I like the bum fight version of Don King with all like the gold jewelry? I poofed my hair up straight.
I think she was probably on drugs.
Yeah, probably. In response, Nick offers to teach him hand-to-hand combat, despite Kevin's protests, and they all head outside, and Nick tosses him a garden Daphne while he uses a rake. And we get the greatest scene from the movie, the garden tool staff fighting scene.
No.
Oh, no, this scene is so bad, it's great. So I called it a garden Daphne. It's a garden hoe.
I just wanted to die.
But the joke Really?
I get your hoe.
Yeah, because you find out later she gets around. That's why I called it a garden Daphne.
I get it.
No ba-dum-ching. That joke had a little too much pipe delay to make it understandable. This action type music starts playing, and all they do is circle each other and smack the center of the sticks into each other over and over again. And each time they hit, it crescendos with this like stinger, like this bamf, bamf sound effect. The movie truly peaks here. So it's all downhill from here, people.
It peaks in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
It's all downhill from here, folks, though. It's still got some entertaining moments after this.
Dude, it's still entertaining enough. When this happened, I'm like,
it's so great.
What the fuck am I watching? And why is this going on?
Yeah, all they do is they circle. Long? They're holding like staffs, one hand on each end, and they just keep hitting the middle of their sticks together. It's like more Nick hitting than... Or not, more Nick than Kevin.
The biggest what the fuck moment ever for the movie.
So Nick gets the first point after he breaks the pattern and swings around and pokes him in the side with his stick. Hey Perry, do you like being poked by sticks? I'm not playing it, but I came up with so many good ones for this one. I'm not gonna play it every time, but I got a couple of them in here.
I'll break your hand. I'm not threatened by it.
All right. So adding to this hilarity is that Nick starts twirling his rake like he's some martial arts master before Kevin gets up and they resume smacking their staffs together.
Oh, I thought it was.
Oh, there's another tick joke there.
Oh my god.
So Nick does another spin move, knocking Kevin to the ground again before resuming the bamf again. Bamf, bamf, bamf. You like that?
I swear they do that in like some other movie. There's some other movie that does something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it came before or
It's
after.
almost kind of like the bamps from Batman when they punch people. It's like bam and zoink and pow without the colorful text box saying the sound effect. So this scene is so dumb. I don't know how it works, but it does, and I love every second of it.
It helped me.
So eventually Nick gets a jab in with his stick, knocking Kevin to the ground for the third time, and the TKO. Get it? Punch out and you knock somebody down 3 times. Technical knockout.
Kevin's a bitch.
Nick is the victor. Oh yeah, Kevin, he's that's his arc. He's got to man up. So to celebrate, Nick and Daphne head into the van and turn it into the Winnebango, if you catch my drift, while Amy scolds Kevin for being a loser again. Geez, she's just as annoying a nagger as Delores. Yeah, don't give me that look, Delores. Get back to making up that mop water so you can actually mop the floor. In the background, while Amy and Kevin are talking, though, Nick's van is a-rockin', complete with the boing cartoonist sound effect going boing, boing, boing as the van rocks back and forth.
Yeah, Nutter, what the fuck?
Oh, it's so great. After less than 2 minutes, Nick is finished and he runs out of the van with Daphne quickly in pursuit. She seems quite happy. I don't think I've ever seen any woman have that reaction to a guy finishing that quick. So anyways, it's night now, and Kevin is skulking at work. McCready can't mind his own business, so he inquires what's wrong. But of course, this selfish old man makes it all about himself and wants to tell him a long story about his army experience, which I'm sure that won't come up again later either. Before he can bore Kevin to death to be kill number 2, though, the closed-circuit TV monitor system starts beeping because there is an intruder in the lot. Unfortunately, it's not Danny Hicks, but some lame greaser reject. McCready tells Kevin to hold down the fort, and he hops in the company golf cart and speeds away to find the trespasser. But like a chump, McCready gets jumped by the greaser, who just hit on the other side of the wall around the corner, and then he's holding McCready at knife point now. Kevin sees this on the monitor and grabs his gun and runs to the scene, firing a Loomis shot that frightens the non-Danny Hicks intruder off. But they hear a noise, so the Travolta wannabe must still be on the lot. So McCready goes to call the police, and Kevin goes to look for the guy. Ominous music kicks in, and Kevin goes to look for the guy in the vault, despite McCready's warnings.
So when Kevin goes to look at him, he has a radio. I think this is where it is. Yeah. He just sets it on the ground. Why the fuck?
Yeah, he sets it down and doesn't take it with him.
I'm like, why wouldn't you take that with you?
Because the plot has to happen, so McCready can't get a hold of him when he tries calling for him. Hey, I don't write these movies. I poke holes at all the
Thank God you don't.
plot. If I did, there wouldn't be plot holes in this stuff.
There wouldn't be Scary Pod either.
Oh, there'd be Scary Pod. There just wouldn't be Scary Perry. What?
What?
Anyways, moving on. So he opens the vault despite McCready's warnings. And there's a green glow inside and some fog machine action. Spooky. Not really, but before he can step inside, McCready runs up and grabs him, but we hear some growling sounds and they look down at something running out of the vault. Note, we are too cheap to pan down and actually show the crappy Hobgoblin puppets moving, so this is what you get. So they run off and look for them, but it's too late. McCready crapped his pants again before he could get to the bathroom. Just kidding. They run out in the parking lot, out of breath, and Kevin asks what is going on. I'll tell you what is going on. We have hobgoblins. They've hijacked the golf cart and try to run down our 2 security guards. Now for the budget of this film, the hobgoblins actually look pretty good and have a decent design. From, like the actual animal aesthetic, they're crafted decently. However, they're more like stuffed animals than actual puppets and have limited range of motion as such, which adds to the cheese factor of this movie.
Sorry, you want to guess the budget of this movie?
Oh, it's ridiculously low. I remember seeing it. I don't know the exact number. It's under 100,000, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, I want to say, is it like 10,000?
A little higher.
A little higher, like 50?
15,000.
15,000? Okay.
I don't know how much
I remember seeing it when I was writing down, all the actors and stuff's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was like dirt cheap. But I mean, hey, probably got a pretty good return on investment for this. Considering the cult following. I don't know if he held on to the rights for it, but Rick Sloane's got to be rolling in that so bad it's good movie gold. Like Screech McDuck has that pool of hobgoblin coins that he swims around in. Do you think they're just hallucinations by the hobgoblins, though? Rick Sloane doesn't have like any money. He's just swimming in nothing.
Yes.
All right. So the music during this scene is great. It's like this cheap 80s police chase style of music. Unlike the scientists in Prometheus, our heroes eventually run to the side and escape the hobgoblins. But when they return to the cart, all the hobgoblins are gone. So McCready hits us with some exposition to a confused Kevin, and we get a flashback to when McCready first started as a security guard. He's reading something that on the cover says, The Visitants. Very subtle movie. Also, what is this thing? Like a pamphlet? Because there's nothing else inside. Maybe it's a flyer for a casting call to a better movie than this so McCready can get out of this picture. But I didn't know this was a Rick Sloane movie until you told me, so maybe it's not a better movie to go for him to get a casting call in. So a small little spaceship/pod lands in the studio parking lot, and out comes little scary Perry and Pod. I always had a feeling you two were aliens. It helps to explain a lot. Actually, it is the Hobgoblins, as McCready calls them, adding vaguely that if only he knew what trouble lay ahead. I gotta get my McCready voice going. He's got this Irish type voice. Yeah, the worst effects of the movie are yet to come. That's the trouble that lies ahead. Back in the present, he explains that he let them live on the lot and explains that they would use some sort of telekinesis to get into people's minds and create hallucinations of their wildest fantasies. Sounds like I need to get me one of these guys. I'll take hallucination Victoria Justice over no Victoria Justice any day. But these fantasies end up more like the monkey's paw variety, or if you prefer, some ancient Chinese statue variety. Listen to our Tales from the Crypt episode, if you prefer, and the hobgoblins end up destroying their victims with them. Kevin says that McCready should warn them, adding that they would listen to him. Kevin, what are you, an idiot? You have not impressed me so far in this film. Nobody's going to believe that story, and this guy is our protagonist, people. McCready agrees with me, so he says Kevin can hunt them down since he's too old and needs to go star in that The Visitants flick he was reading about 30 years ago. You might have missed the gun on that one, McCready. So McCready fills him in that the hobgoblins move quickly and are attracted to bright lights. So they are like the Bizarro version of Gremlins, or opposite Gremlins.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's another thing. This is a Gremlins knockoff, if you haven't figured that out, people. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. I think I mentioned it last episode in the outro. So he adds that if one of his friends acts strangely, it means they are under the hobgoblin's influence, and the creature is close by. So, finishing with that.
They're attracted to bright lights.
Yes.
I wonder what would happen in the daytime.
Well, that's what he says later on. We'll get to that in a second, maybe. So if they're acting strangely, they're under the hobgoblin's influence. And he finishes with that killing it will end the fantasy and save the victim. Also, he has to hurry and kill them all before dawn because then it will be too late for reasons. They never really explain what's going to happen at dawn. Like you said, they're attracted to bright lights, so it just means they'll be out running amok during the daytime, which will be the ultimate pandemonium. It's never really elaborated on. That's what I would assume, is that because it's daytime, they can go out during the day rather than just sticking to, that house has lights on, let's go there type mentality.
Yep.
So Kevin hops in his car and drives off to find the hobgoblins. So back at his place, the gang puts on some kickin' generic 80s tunes, and we got a strobe light going off and random colored lights shining all over the place. Gee, I wonder where the hobgoblins are going to go to. Sure enough, the hobgoblins, see the spectacle through the windows and aren't frightened off by the horrific dance moves coming from inside. Outside, Nick's car horn goes off, so Daphne lifts her skirt in glee and runs outside. She really needs that D, Perry. But surprise, it's a hobgoblin with a horn, psyching her out, and there is no one there. After some filler argument between the two girls when the one brings her a jacket, Daphne decides to wait for Nick outside when a hobgoblin appears over her shoulder. Thinking it's Amy again, she yells at her for breathing on her, but when she turns, she sees it's not Daphne, but it's a ghoulie. Hobgoblin. Wait a minute, not Daphne? She sees it's not Amy. Excuse me there. So she wrestles on the ground with the hobgoblin. And it looks, the Hobo-Goblin. I'm missing out here. I need to have my Hobo-Goblins fighting tramps, apparently. It'd be more entertaining. So she's wrestling on the ground with it, and it looks about as terrible and yet at the same time hilarious as you would imagine someone pretend wrestling with a stuffed animal would be. Inside, Amy thinks Nick finally showed up and is plowing Daphne from the noises she hears outside. Daphne, she eventually knocks it off her and stands up. And then this hoe picks up a hoe and then smashes it repeatedly into the monster, complete with all those bamf, bamf sound effects from earlier from the fight scene. All off screen, of course. We don't have the budget for hobgoblin guts or any more blood in this one, or to destroy the actual hobgoblin puppet.
Can I interrupt you right here?
Sure.
Did you notice a lot of the outdoor scenes of this house they're in? You could hear like birds and owls.
Yeah,
and it's really like, it's like so shitty. They couldn't like edit that out.
That's the noises you'd hear at night, though. Maybe
it's just so strong.
Maybe they actually used a track of animal recordings.
God, that's horrible then.
So 1 down, 4 to go. But as she opens the front door to go back inside, she is attacked by another, or maybe the same, maybe she didn't kill it, hobgoblin, and then another starts to attack Amy on the couch. But it looks like they're humping them more than anything. Hey, we just got to get these little guys laid and everything will be all right. Just like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. We get this guy laid, everything will be all right. So some more terrible stuffed animal wrestling ensues as Nick pulls up in his van outside and he comes in, but he just thinks it's a new dance at first that they are doing. So they all run to the door and ask him to get them out of there. But then the munchies, hobgoblins, rise up from behind the couch and set upon the group as they scream and try to close the door. I'm going to have gremlin knockoffs to call these guys. Did I use ghoulies?
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, that's right. I said it up there. Yeah, I think that's all the mainstream gremlins and gremlin clones knockoffs out of the way. A struggle ensues as they try to push them back in so they can close the door. So Nick runs back to the van and pulls a grenade from his glove compartment. Yeah, I'm sure the army just lets you take ordnance off base like that. And Kevin pulls into the driveway just in time to prevent his house from getting blown up by this grenade, sticking his hand through the front door and turning off the light switches, which kills the lights and music. The hobgoblins run, quote, out the door, aka off screen again, like when they scurried out of the vault, and they head into the van, and Kevin closes the door, trapping them inside. They look back inside and survey the damage, and Kevin gives them the it's a long story routine, which results in some witty dialogue before Kyle goes off to call his girlfriend again. Wink. As they head back inside, the ominous music kicks in, and we get a Tempo magazine stinger as we cut to outside, and the hobgoblins are unlocking the van door. Did they really think that they weren't going to get out of there? Back inside, Kyle whips out that phone sex brochure again and calls that Fantasia. With how much he calls her, you would think he would just have the number memorized at this point. So this time, she's doing some animal/zookeeper stick, calling the zookeeper the Beastmaster. Don't remind me that I could be watching a better movie. You right over there?
There's a bug on my empty plate.
This
place is dirty.
You're sure it was a bug? You're sure maybe it wasn't a fantasy from a hobgoblin?
Sweaty palms, man. Sweaty palms. It's right here, dude. Look. I think I'm bullshitting you.
I think you're going crazy there from stuff withdrawals.
I need to stop.
I think I need to get Scary Pod over here and switch out his residency at the school. Wink for you. Simmer down over there. So
what happened? What?
Oh, all right. Yeah, don't remind me. I could be watching a better movie. I could be watching Beastmaster instead of Hobgoblins. So the gem of this conversation is when the zookeeper...
Gem? You just called this a shit movie and you said the gem?
I said the gem of this conversation.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I don't know gem in that.
Is when the zookeeper has a new pet for her.
All right.
And she says she could never take a cockatoot that size. Oh, man. Get it, folks? Because cockatoot sounds like cock.
You mean like cockatoo?
Yeah, cockatoo. I don't know why I said toot. It's even in my notes, cockatoo.
Cockatoo.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. But as this conversation is happening, a hobgoblin is listening in, and after a screeching noise, the conversation changes direction. Fantasia says she's right outside and to come and get her. So Kyle goes outside, and lo and behold, there's Fantasia in her leopard print. I think it's like almost like a leotard type get up, and accompanied by a wolf howling, probably at that off-screen Full Moon Entertainment logo from earlier, and some rock music and the fog machine kicking in. Kyle asks if she kisses on the first date, and she replies, I go all the way on the first date. She must be related to Nikki from April Fool's Day.
There you go.
So maybe it's like an aunt or something, or maybe even her mother. You think this is her mother? Probably not.
Maybe her sister.
I think she's a little too old to be, maybe an older sister. I think she could be an aunt, though. She looks like kind of middle-aged, and Nikki's probably like 20-ish. Maybe closer to cousin sisters. You might be right. I don't know how old Fantasia was at the time of this filming. Kyle replies, my kind of woman. See, Perry? He gets it. And they decide to head to Reputation Road. What kind of reputation do you think it has, Perry?
That's how you get to this diner.
Oh, is this just off Reputation Road?
Yes.
I don't think so. I hope not. That means Club Scum is right around the corner. Meanwhile, Kevin is looking for Kyle, and he goes outside just in time to see Kyle in the car with Fantasia and a hobgoblin in the back seat with an accompanying Tempo magazine stinger. He runs back inside and asks Amy where Reputation Road is, but she's a prude, so she just stares at him blankly, kind of like Felicia Rose staring at people all the time, or Angela, as I should call her, just staring at people with those eyes. So he asks Daphne instead, and because she's a loose woman, she knows exactly where it is and gives Kevin all the detailed explanations. You gotta go down this road, then turn right at the second light, hang a left at this stop sign, go this way and that way. He tells the others to stay here and drives off to find Kyle, but not before grabbing the garden rake. Hey, it was good enough to best him in combat after all, so... However, Amy picks up Kyle's adult flyer and sees an ad for Club Scum. Shows nudely and nightly. I don't know what nudely means in that context. I mean, I get it, but nudely and nightly, they don't quite seem like the two words that... I don't know, it's weird. She smiles because she has some pent-up goody two-shoes frustrations. Didn't Kevin just tell you all not to fantasize about anything? Back in the car, Kyle professes his love to Fantasia and asks to marry her, but she says they are skipping the ceremony and going straight to the honeymoon, and scolds him for not driving fast enough. So they take a shortcut through the children's playground.
My God.
After arriving at Reputation Road, they park, but they're at the kissing only section as the sign next to the window, crudely written sign, says that wasn't there in the previous shot though. So they have to pull up further to the sign that says all the way, conveniently right next to the edge of a cliff. So she gets out of the car and tells him to enjoy the view and get ready for the ride of his life. But the ride he has in mind isn't the one she is thinking of, as she goes to the back and starts to push the car to try to push it over the edge of the cliff. Kyle gets out and offers to help her, but she yells at him to get back in the car and wait for her. So the car slowly starts to inch forward as Kevin pulls up, and he tries to attack Fantasia, but she just shoves him off. He sees the hobgoblin sitting on top of the all the way sign, and he goes and whacks it with the rake. This causes Fantasia to stop and raise her hands, just straight up with this like blank look expression on her face, and she just fades away with this stock waking out of a dream / flashback sequence music, you know, the doo-doo-doo. So Kyle, he's still waiting for his ride, but Kevin comes over and yanks him out of the car and breaks it to him that his girlfriend isn't real. And
all right, hold on.
All right.
I got a couple questions here.
Sure. It's not a bad question, Bert. Oh, you haven't said it.
Why didn't Kevin tell his friends that they can tap into people's minds?
I don't know, because he's a bad protagonist. I already told you this.
And then, riddle me this. How can you see a figment of somebody's imagination?
I don't know. Maybe because they're hobgoblins. They just manifest
but
stuff
they
in the
go
real world.
into his mind. They didn't go into Kevin's mind.
Well, it's a physical manifestation of his inner desires.
Physical, it's a mental.
Yeah, but it creates a physical manifestation. I mean, how else would she push it off the car? She's got to be physically there in order to push the thing off the cliff.
I'm sure like hobgoblins are actually pushing.
Well, they don't have any telekinetic power. They're just sitting
they're
there.
physically pushing the car, probably.
Yeah.
So he should have saw like two hobgoblins on top of each other pushing a car.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
But how can he see his figment of his imagination?
Well, because, I mean, you see all the other figments of the imagination in this. I don't know. You're looking too deep into this, man.
Hey, man, I just want to know things, okay? The stuff makes me stuffy. You have the only
So anyways, the car slowly rolls forward as they're arguing, and Kevin is telling Kyle that she was trying to push the car over the cliff, and right on cue, the car goes rolling over the cliff and explodes as it settles at the bottom. Now, was it a miniature, stock footage, or a real car? I couldn't quite tell. I don't think they could afford a real car to blow up, but you never know.
Stole a car.
Bought some used junker and then just blew it up.
Yeah.
So they return back to Kevin's place and discover the van door open. Kevin goes to investigate, but he is attacked by a hobgoblin that stayed behind. More terrible wrestling ensues, complete with some bad glare on the lens during some of the shots. And Kyle tries to hit it with the tire iron, but hilariously, intentionally, just barely misses it, because it's like, that intentional fake acting where he goes to hit it, but, he's clearly off mark as he goes to try to swing slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he just barely misses it, like somehow it just moved out of the way, but clearly it didn't. So frustrated, he grabs the tire iron from Kyle and bludgeons the poor puppet to death. After that, they go to check on the others. Nick and Daphne clearly just got done screwing. They are doing fine, but Amy was acting strange and went to Club Scum. Kevin scolds them, explaining for the 100th time that the creatures tap into your mind and unlock your true desires and try to kill you.
You mean the first time?
True. So look, Kevin, just because the characters aren't paying attention to you doesn't mean I need to hear the same thing over and over. And what could possibly go wrong at Club Scum? Well, of course, Daphne has been there before and elaborates that there are bikers, there's people dealing drugs, knife fights, etc. At that,
Hobgoblin fights.
Oh, yeah, there's the bum fights, the Hobgoblin fights. See, that's how we can get away with it. If we just say Hobgoblin fights, nobody will know what we're referencing.
We've been saying Hobgoblin.
Well, but I mean, in the future.
I get you.
That could be our code word.
Wow, just let everybody know already.
Well, that way, for people who are just tuning in. Anyways, before going inside, Daphne explains that you have to look like you belong here. And at the same time, this random biker's just standing next to him. He's like, yeah, you gotta look like him. Doesn't say that, but he pops up his collar like, yeah, I gotta look cool, man. And he nods along with them. This guy's kind of funny to watch in the background here. He's the coolest thing since Perry's lame mustache. Hey-o.
Hey, don't.
No, I don't have any good mustaches in this. Well, maybe one coming up. So Daphne nominates Kyle to hold all the wallets for safekeeping, but the biker that was pop at his collar, he pulls out a switchblade and takes them all from him as the others head inside. Wasn't a very smart idea. So they are stopped by the bouncer who won't let them in, but they say they are looking for a specific girl here. He thinks they are looking for some action, so he goes and grabs the waitress, Pixie, who does a little work on the side. Wink, wink. And this chick's hair, it's like something from the 60s or 70s. It's like this giant, I don't know what type of hairstyle to call it, but, it goes straight up in the air. Kind of almost like Marge Simpson. But you know what I mean? But it's like a super exaggerated version of that style from the 60s or 70s. It's got to be at least 2 feet tall, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it was tall.
Kevin explains that they are looking for a friend of theirs. Angrily, she hits the bouncer, whose name is Road Rash, with her tray before storming off. It makes the same boing sound effect as the car earlier, because why not? So Road Rash, she goes to throw them out, but Daphne, she comes up to the front, and of course he recognizes her, and again, it's heavily implied that these two are fucking. And he tells her he's sorry his boyfriend is back from the army and to let him know next time he's out of town. And so she has to slyly let him know to Ixnay on the Oyfriend Bay, okay, but this guy doesn't understand Pig Latin. So since they are friends of Daphne's, they are all allowed to go in, and they sit down at one of the tables. But before that, I think now is a good time for us to take a brief break from sitting at this and we'll be right back. And we're back. So,
a dinosaur story.
You used that joke already.
So
no ba-jump-chink this time.
What?
I don't think it came off as good either.
What?
I think the timing was a little bit better the other time.
Yeah.
It's all right, though. I still enjoyed it.
Like you'd know.
I don't even know what that means. Anyway, so they're on the way to sit at their table, but on their way there, they bump into the MC, who thinks they're there for the wet t-shirt contest tonight. Sadly, there won't be any wet t-shirts in this film, or any nudity for that matter. It would have definitely given this movie an extra half a pancake, for sure.
Yeah.
However, this is the start of a bit, and Nick is excited at the prospects of the wet t-shirt contest, and he goes and sits down. So Kyle, he's the one next up in line to the MC, and the MC says, "Donkey mud wrestling?" And Kyle exclaims, "Donkey mud wrestling?" and takes off. I'm not surprised he is into some weird shit. Are you?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So when it's Kevin's turn, the MC asks, "Get lucky night?" ? And Kevin says no, and he stomps off to take a seat. When it's Daphne turns, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. The donkey mud wrestlers are supposed to use the rear entrance." She just kind of rolls her eyes and goes and takes her seat. Still on their way to the table, though, all the random guys who pass by say hi to Daphne, which leads to a little spat between her and Nick, because, she gets around apparently while Nick's not there. So then the MC goes on stage, clears his throat for what seems like forever before welcoming everyone to Club Scum. But Road Rash yells at him to get off the stage, and he chucks a beer can at him. So then the band starts playing, and surprisingly, the music is actually pretty good. I like the song. I think the song was Kiss Kickers 99, I think was this song, and then there's another different song at the credits. Yep. If I remember correctly, that's the name of the song.
You're right. Dude.
This is the Fontanelles, of course. It's got some awesome 80s music, and that's the next entire 3 minutes of this film is just watching the band.
Fontanelle songs.
Yes, but there's like kind of two featured. The others are
yeah.
This one and then the one during the ending theme. I don't know when the others play. They're probably just background music and something. Maybe when they're dancing earlier, or maybe the music that was playing when that kid was, I don't know, jamming out and broke his neck.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that kid who broke his neck doing the half pipe in Body Melt. Just falls down and breaks his neck. We'll have to cover that one someday.
Body Melt.
More awesome music in that movie too. That's literally the next 3 minutes of this film is watching the Fontanelles perform in real time, accompanied by some outdated dance moves from Pixie and some more Fog Machine. I must have borrowed it from I forget the name of the town that the Fog is in. Maybe they borrowed it from Claudio Fragasso. We'll go with that. He likes to use his Fog Machine, if I remember correctly. And oh man, the lead singer's outfit is something else. It's like this red/magenta leisure suit/sport jacket. It's got these like black, almost leopard spots. And he wears a beret along with black fingerless gloves. I'm not sure what style he's going for, but it's so 80s cheese to the max. After the song, Pixie comes over to get their drink order. Hey, there's a 2-drink minimum. Do you think there's a minimum order at this dump? Like you can't just come in and order water? This seems like the place where you can't just come in and order water. But good luck getting your 2 drinks. Yeah, don't glare at me over there, Delores. Anyways, Kevin is a square, so he tells her they're all underage. What a buzzkill. So Pixie calls for Road Rash and lets him know. Of course, he pulls out a bunch of fake IDs and asks how many they need. Oh man, this place. It puts Mos Eisley's cantina to shame. Kyle protests at this, saying
you never find
that his says...
wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Club Scum. See, it's got scum in the name. Obi-Wan was really talking about this place. Kyle protests at his fake ID, saying it says he's 40 and handicapped, but Road Rash snarls and he asks if he has a problem with that. And Kyle just says, well, I guess I'll just limp then. So, hey, Scary Perry, I think you should limp next time so we could park in the handicapped spot here.
Oh.
Let's think you can pull that off?
Breaking the law.
Just, do a limp and we'll put up the little placard.
Nobody cares. You see how many cars are out there? Our car. That's it. One car.
It's like
Do you see that gas station over there? Lots of cars.
I don't know. It looks pretty deserted. I think everybody moved out of town after the stuff.
No.
Next, the MC introduces a new act, appearing nudely and nightly, Miss Amy Sincere. 1, that is a bold-faced lie. She is neither nude nor appears any other night that we know of after this. 2, the closed captioning tried to say that appearing was a very. It also did this when Kyle said, I'll limp, saying instead of I'll limp, hold them. What is this world coming to when I can't trust the subtitles to let me know what they are saying in the movie when it's difficult to hear them? So Amy, she's on stage in this tight black and like blue dress, kind of like a showgirl outfit that goes up to her chest with this black skirt, kind of almost like another tutu thing again, and pantyhose with some generically awesome show-type music comes on. Or as a closed caption would call it, smooth music. And she starts to dance provocatively. The crowd is hooting and hollering, and Kevin, he tries to yell to her to get her off the stage, but he is quickly silenced and threatened by Road Rash. She eventually removes the black shroud and tosses one of her gloves in the crowd, caught in the mouth of Road Rash, who raises his eyebrows in one of those wink, wink, nudge, nudge, like, hey, this is hot type things. And he also asks if Daphne taught her how to do that. Also, so Amy has this like rose tattoo right above one of her breasts. Did she recently get that, or was it always there? She seems like too much of a prude to get a tattoo, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe she got it when under the Hobgoblin's influence. Who knows? The MC is even getting a little hot under the collar after he's tugging on his shirt collar. And after shifting his eyes, he asks the crowd if she is a hit or a miss. And the crowd cheers, but we cut to Road Rash, who holds up a sign that says hit as he looks into the camera, smirks, and raises his eyebrows again. I gave out a good laugh at that scene. He also held up a sign that says his mustache is better than Scary Perry's. Hey-o! Get the fuck out of here. He's got a mustache beard thing going on, not just a mustache. But nobody else really has a mustache in this one, so I gotta take what I can get, people. So it takes the other glove hitting him in the face for Kevin to finally take off his gloves and say enough is enough and take to the stage, decking the MC who tries to stop him. But Amy just shoves him off the stage and Road Rash drags him back to his seat. During this, Pixie is getting a little frisky with Kyle, and he likes it. This reminds me of the story. I like to think this guy might be like my one friend Kyle from back in the day. I put here like that time Kyle banged a MILF and told us all about it. Do you remember Kyle? I want to elaborate the story.
Kyle M?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you that story. It was like shortly after. That's a long story, but it was a funny story. So the show continues, and Amy and Road Rash start eyeing each other up, with her blowing him a kiss and him sticking out his tongue, lapping it up. Also, do you think Road Rash has a couple of brothers named Pimple and Zitz? Get it? Road Rash, that's one of the name of the Battletoads.
Oh, I get you.
Yeah, those are the other names of the Battletoads. I like to think that he's got some brothers named Pimple and Zitz.
Probably.
I like to think that he turned into a Battletoad. Maybe that's the origin of the Battletoads. We'll have to add that to the International House of Horror universe. So Amy takes the mic and tells the crowd all the dirty things she wants them to do to her, and that she isn't wearing any underwear, and then approaches Road Rash and throws herself at him, who offers her a lift on his motorcycle back to his place, and says that he lives right around the corner, if you know what I mean. And from all my experience, anytime somebody says, if you know what I mean, it's always sexual innuendo. It's never anything else. It's never like, oh, if you know what I mean, right?
Pretty much. Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any time where somebody says, if you know what I mean, and it isn't a sexual innuendo reference. So Kevin tries to intervene, saying she's never even rode on a motorcycle before, but she counters it's like sitting on the world's largest vibrator. I have no... Can you verify that as a fact, Scary Perry? Can you use your internet facts to verify that?
I'm not. No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So Road Rash, is it like the spin cycle from The Great Outdoors? I just was watching that the other day, and I remembered that scene where she makes the comment, it's like, get so lonely, I put on the you know.
Is that for The Great Outdoors? No, that's from...
Yeah, it's from The Great Outdoors.
No, Uncle Buck.
No, it's from The Great Outdoors. I just watched it the other day. No, because it's she's talking about how Dan Aykroyd's always busy with work, and and she's and then it's like, and she's like, is that really work? And she's like, have you seen White's This White?
Yeah,
I just saw it the other day. That's the only reason I know it.
Yeah. Good movie.
Oh, very, very good. So Road Rash, he shoves Kevin back to his seat, and they head out to the main entrance to his bouncer's position. Apparently, Amy Sincere is just her stage name, in which he asks if he wants to know her real name. He says to her to tell it to me on your knees, baby. And he just grabs her head and like slowly shoves it down. It's so hilarious. Oh, God. That's so funny. Because she's going to give him a blowjob. That's the joke there. And he's just shoving her head down.
Sweaty palms.
I don't know why that matters here, but okay. So Kevin bursts in to try to break it up again, but gets tossed back into the club. He tries to get his friends to get off their lazy butts and help him, but just then, Nick's CO, Sergeant Parker, walks up out of nowhere. He's out on a weekend pass, and he heard Pixie is working tonight. She must be well known in these parts. So do you ever go to the Club Scum, Perry, and when Pixie's working? Does she give you a hair job? You know, with that giant hair of hers, a hair job? Did I just create a new thing? A hair job? Think that's a thing? Don't type in hair job. Don't Google hair job. I don't need to see what that fucking is. Well, you like to Google things.
I'm Googling to buy a straight jacket and a muzzle. For you.
For Scary Pod, he needs a new one in the school. Wink.
For you.
Meanwhile, we hear a hobgoblin snarl, and Kevin and Kyle are running after it because it's just scurrying around on the ground, out of sight again because we're too lazy to show it. The Sarge asks what's going on, and Nick brings him up to speed, saying they're under attack by small predators and recommends staging a diversion. So Sergeant Parker, though, he scolds him, saying, who's the commanding officer here, and that he'll make the decision. So he says he'll stage a diversion. So out of nowhere, he hands him a bandolier to put on, multiple grenades, a knife, an Uzi, and a bandana to complete the knockoff Rambo ensemble. So Daphne just stares at him, slack-jawed and dumbfounded as they do this. But there's a weird cut when it zooms in on her where you can see they grasp hands together or something, but when they cut back to Nick's torso and above, he's grabbing the knife or something. Like, it's a little bit jarring. It's kind of like out of notice, but I picked up on it. In the meantime, Kyle and Kevin are chasing two of the hobgoblins around the joint. Oh man, this is so hilarious because the puppeteer, so I don't know if you saw this, he's clearly on the ground crawling to simulate the hobgoblin moving around on the ground as Kevin chases it, but the camera isn't set high enough and you can see the back of his feet at the bottom of the shot as he's crawling several of the times, and Kevin can't get too close or actually run after it, or else he would step on this guy. It's hilarious. But the hobgoblins escape their grasp and put their hypno powers to work on Pixie and the MC at the bar. And they start falling for each other and making out and dry humping. He also says he used to be a talent scout for a major film studio. Do you think he was the talent scout at the place that McCready is wanking it or guarding right now? I think McCready's just, he's got nothing better to do, so he's just... Maybe that Visited magazine is just like the Sports Almanac, Gray Sports Almanac cover over the Ooh La La. He's hiding the Ooh La La from the boss there. So Kyle strolls on over to the bar, observing them, then nonchalantly grabs a beer bottle and busts it on the hobgoblin's head, breaking the spell. Well, that was easy. I guess there's just one left now, because there's 5 on the golf cart altogether that we saw. We'll come back to that later. But Pixie is pissed at the MC now, so Kyle hands her a bottle, and she starts fake hitting him with it. This is some of the worst fighting ever, as the bottle doesn't even come close to the guy, and it's not even hitting him, and it's accompanied by more stock cartoon sound effects. It's so bad, it's great. So Kyle tells Kevin the good news. Unfortunately, it wasn't the right one to break the spell on Amy, as the things are starting to get hot and heavy between her and Road Rash. So Daphne comes to tell the two that they have to stop Nick, because he is going apeshit on the club. Ooh, he's gone apeshit. Tossing grenades wantonly. Also, the grenades, they don't explode in a giant pyrotechnic flame. I'm just saying. People get grenades wrong in movies so many times, but this is some of the worst because it explodes in a giant spout of flame, which makes no sense. So patrons and tables go flying everywhere. People are running and screaming. Road Rash hears the commotion, but when he inquires, Amy just says it's her faking her orgasm. And he's like, fuck it, and gets back to making out with her. Like I said, priorities, people, why save the world or, look into a situation when you can get laid. But Road Rash, he keeps hearing the noses, so he eventually goes to investigate. And everybody makes a run for the exit all at once, jumping over each other. As they cower under a table to hide from Nick's rampage, a hobgoblin sneaks up behind them and growls, so we get a bunch of screaming, but Kevin quickly grapples with it for a second, strangles it, and tosses it aside with ease like a cheap carnival stuffed animal. Oh wait, because that's kind of what it is. This breaks the spell on Amy, finally, and Road Rash, face all black in front of the pyrotechnics budget, comes back out to see Amy, who is covering herself up, appalled at her choice of attire. And he asks if she will still fake her orgasms for her, and she promptly breaks a bottle over his head. And the gang quickly checks on Amy, but Daphne stays behind, and the sergeant ducks under the table with her. She asks him to stop Nick, but he says, why? This is the best training he's ever had. And before she can storm off, he stops her and asks if she ever thought of joining the USO, so she could entertain the troops. Wink, wink. She enthusiastically agrees, not realizing what she's agreeing to. And he says she can start right away. There's a truckload of soldiers outside, and if she starts now, she can be finished by the morning. She's disgusted at this proposal, though. Shocking, given she's probably already banged half the dudes on that truck before. Nick comes over, and she asks for him to shoot the sergeant for putting the moves on her. But he just hands her a grenade and says to do it herself and takes off. So Sergeant Weinstein won't take no for an answer, so he decides he'll just have to get Nick out of the picture, and he grabs the grenade from her hands and chucks it at Nick, yelling, "Incoming!" And to save the rest of his troops, who aren't in the building, and there's nobody else really around. Now Tubi interrupts me with a commercial break, and it advertises for stainless hardwood flooring. If you would only eat the stuff, you wouldn't have to worry about leaving a stain on it, right?
Exactly.
Oh, so maybe it would be a good investment for J-Bones in this place. I know I gripes about you spilling and dropping things here all the time. Perry.
Nobody.
With a grenade rolling towards him, Nick leaps onto the grenade and it explodes, and his stunt double is now running around on fire and screaming. Again, that is still not how grenades work, people. So I guess that is kill number 2, spontaneous combustion. Man, don't remind me I could be watching another movie that's probably better than this. I haven't seen the Spontaneous Combustion starring Brad Dourif, but I do want to. That was one of those ones that was on Amazon Prime and then it came off Prime before I could watch it. I'm like, motherfucker. I'm sure I could find it somewhere.
Yeah.
The sergeant tries to get Daphne to fuck those soldiers again, saying it will be a dream come true. Wait a minute. Dreams? Like fantasies? It's the Hobgoblins again. Sure enough, there are 2 more Hobgoblins underneath the table. Now, I know I lost count, but like I said, there was originally 5 on the golf cart, and they didn't hint that there was any more. They all were escaping on this golf cart. Daphne killed one with the hoe. Kevin killed the Fantasia spawning one. Then he killed one with the tire iron. Kyle bashed one with the beer bottle, and then Kevin strangled the other one for 5. But now there are 2 more? Can't help but feel like we got a clue moment with Wadsworth here. 1 + 2 + 2 + 1. 1 + 2 + 2 + 1 is... I don't know. I think maybe they're just fucking up. And they're just, I mean, this is what I expect for like continuity. Gremlins. Maybe the bottle bashing just knocked it out, so it broke the MC out of its, and Pixie out of their fantasy illusion. Yeah, maybe the bottle and the choking didn't kill the 2, as I put here in my notes, but Old Man McCready said he had to kill him to break the spell, so I just assumed that it would have killed them. Oh, that's what I get for expecting continuity from this movie. Daphne is tired of Sergeant Bad Touch, so she plucks a grenade from his hand, pulls the pin, and shoves it down his shirt. And this is hilarious because it explodes in another, again, unrealistic giant pyrotechnic explosion of fire in front of him, despite the grenade being stuck in his shirt. So Daphne rejoins the others out in the foyer and says she got the last of them. So the explosion in front of the sergeant also blew up the 2 hobgoblins underneath the table, I guess. Also, I guess that means the movie is over. Check, please. Wait, there's still 13 minutes left in this movie? God damn it. I guess she did get them as we cut back and all that is left of is the sergeant's smoking boots and 2 mutilated stuffed animals, accompanied by that dream-ending musical cue again. Road Rash comes back in. He surveys the damage and says it must have been a rowdy crowd tonight. Like this is just another normal occurrence whenever there's a rowdy crowd. Oh, man. So outside, wallet-stealing biker comes up to Amy and says he liked her show, but Daphne shoves him away and tells her to scram. And then Kevin says he could have done that and that he'll always be there for Amy. But she kind of liked the attention she was getting since it was a nice change of pace from just being known as Daphne's friend. Kevin resolves to finally prove himself to Amy. Oh, so that's what the remainder of the runtime is for. So they get back in the van, but unbeknownst to the gang, there are 3 more hobgoblins in the back. What the fuck? Do these things reproduce like Mogwai or something? Back at the studio, having winked it all he could tonight, McCready is pacing back and forth waiting for Kevin's return. So he goes to see the boss, Mr. Comstock. What a generic sounding business name. He lets the boss know the creatures are on the loose and that he sent Kevin to find them. Furious, the boss scolds him since no one is manning the front gate. If no one is on duty, the insurance refused to pay. We get it. That's going to be part of the ending. You don't have to beat us over the head with it, for crying out loud. Also, I mean, he's technically still in the building. When they patrol, there's nobody watching the front gate. So I don't know how there's still not a guy on duty, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. So McCready wants to go look for him, but the boss gives him an ultimatum. If he walks off the lot, he's fired. But McCready just counters back, I guess that just saves me the trouble of quitting. Meanwhile, Kevin finally pulls back up in the Great Value Mystery Machine with the gang, and the wannabe greaser shows up again to settle the score. This time with nunchucks. Well, I guess this movie just got banned in the UK then. So, are you familiar with that?
No.
During the video nasties era, and just in general, parent advocacy groups, for children. So, nunchucks for some reason were seen as this if you showed nunchucks, kids would use nunchucks for some reason, or nanchuko if you want to go by the proper term. So because of that, and you remember the cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, I don't remember.
But
of course I do.
Well, in the cartoon, they got rid of Michelangelo's nunchucks, if you didn't notice, as the series went on.
Oh, did they?
Because so it could show in Great Britain. Rather than have
Did they replace it with a weapon? A different weapon?
Yeah, he was use this grappling hook, I think. A lot, but rather than have to re-edit each episode for the UK and keep taking out the nunchucks, they just got rid of the nunchucks altogether.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you know this, but it's called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in the UK.
Oh,
because again, they thought ninja, it's too violent for kids. But what's funny though? The sword, the little the size, that's what they're called. Yeah, the size. Donatello's katana, the size,
the stick.
Yeah, the stick. All those were fine. It's just the 2 little sticks bound together by a chain. Not the actual thing that could cut somebody. Side tangent there, but ties in with my joke. What's that?
It almost seems like
but
then they have size.
Yeah, it makes no sense. So anyways, back on track here. Almost done with this hot mess of a movie. The guy tosses the other pair to Kevin, and this is his time to make Amy proud, with the tense music kicking in again. So they fight, and just like with the rakes, every hit, punch, and blow is accompanied by the brimp, brimp. I'm gonna slap pair here. Brimp.
Ow.
Brimp.
Ow.
Just kidding, I didn't really hit him. But the punk is getting the upper hand, but Kevin turns the tide. The greaser takes off his jacket. Now you know it's serious. With another blow, Kevin knocks him onto the golf cart. But wannabe Travolta here, who wasn't good enough to even make it into Grease 2, pulls a revolver from under his sock and aims it at Kevin. Then, bang! A shot rings out, but Kevin is unharmed. Deus Ex McCready to the rescue. But he didn't shoot the deputy, or the greaser, but the hobgoblin in the van, and the greaser drops the gun and fades from existence. The remaining hobgoblins scurry off back to their home in the vault. McCready and Kevin run after them, but Amy stops him to kiss him passionately to see him off. So Kevin's finally become a man and proved himself. I guess his arc in this story is finally complete. So they go back inside, if he even had an arc. So they go back inside, and the creatures did go back into the vault. Kevin says they can lock them back up, but McCready says fuck that shit. He isn't guarding those little bastards anymore, and neither is Kevin going to waste his life guarding them either. So he has something else in mind. So they leisurely stroll back outside, and when they ask what are they going to do about the hobgoblins, McCready asks if he ever told Kevin what he did in the war. McCready, nobody cares what you did in the war, okay? Quit trying to tell us all this story, all right? But when they ask what he did in the war, he states, munitions. Then he presses a button on the remote detonator, and an explosion shoots out the upper story windows of the studio. See, it all came full circle. But wait a minute, that vault was on the lower level, in the basement. Yeah. Why was the explosion on an upper floor level? I guess one man's plot hole is another aesthetic choice. Since it wouldn't, explosion in the basement, you wouldn't see anything happen.
Yeah.
So it looks good for the film. So Amy tells Kevin that he is her hero and whispers something else in his ear, that she wants to bone. So they embrace and ogle each other. So Kyle tries to put the moves on Daphne now that she's available in an easy lay. Oh, no, hold on. I worded this a specific way. I tried to avoid using an F-bomb there because, don't want to throw around the F-bomb too much, but I had a tie in here, so he's putting moves on Daphne, like I said, because she's available in an easy fuck, which is better than being a dead fuck, from what Ted has told me. You don't get that reference yet, but whenever several more Friday the 13th roll around, you will get the reference.
All right.
Let us know on our socials and whatnot and comments and stuff if you get the reference or which Friday the 13th it's from. Hint, it's the one with Crispin Glover doing the weirdest dance ever. Can't wait to talk about that someday. All of a sudden, Nick shows back up, bandaged and on crutches to cockblock him. His skin looks pretty good for a man who was just on fire moments ago. So Daphne and him even do their respective sex dances again, with her doing the little thing and him pumping his fists and then thrusting like he's boning the air. So Nick says Daphne, and she says Nick, implying question, and then they both yell, Van! And he drops the crutches and runs off into the van with her, and it starts a rocking again with the cartoon boing sounds again. Boing, boing, boing. Also, talk about insurance fraud for faking the crutches. Or maybe hormones can overcome all pain when sex is on the line? I mean, priorities, right? McCready calls up the studio exec, Mr. Generic Business Name, and says his part in this movie is done and he would like another gig. Or maybe he just lets him know that there was an accident and the film vault exploded. And there was no one on duty, so the insurance is void. Happy movie, you finally delivered on that setup. You've only mentioned it like 3 other times in this movie. But Nick technically still has a job. Like, he hasn't been fired yet, as far as I know. It's never stated. And he's there now, right? Right? No? You don't think so?
You mean Kevin?
Yeah, didn't I say Kevin?
You said Nick.
Oh, why did I put Nick?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they should hire Nick as the new security guard. He's got military experience.
Boing, boing.
Kyle is dejected, but quickly brightens up to deliver our final gag, smiling and asking if he can use that phone. And then we roll credits with Passion Kills playing by the Fontanelles, which is a pretty kicking tune like their other tune. Oh, the credits let us know that the creatures' celebrity voices were impersonated. Groan as I roll my eyes here. The credits are interspliced with scenes from the movie. I'm not quite sure if they're unused scenes or alternate takes, because they look kind of slightly off in some places. or if it's kind of like Return of the Living Dead where they're showing scenes previously in the movie. It's hard to tell, and by that time, I'm like, I'm not looking this shit back up to find out. Oh, yeah, so yeah, I'm not going back to compare them, so you tell me, Scary Perry, were they alternate takes, or...
I don't remember.
Don't look it up. It's not worth our time. Then we get one last scene at the end with Fantasia, and she tells us next time we see a movie rated PG, she wants us to make it X. And then her tub of popcorn starts to pop and go everywhere, and she giggles. And her giggling just reminds me, yeah, I could have just reviewed Dr. Giggles right now instead. Don't remind me. And that was Hobgoblins. So, I just knocked down Ultimate Ash. No, Ash down.
No.
All right, Scary Perry. So you got anything before we go into our last bite here?
Yeah, I got some stuff.
All right.
So
but you don't have brand name the stuff. You just got some stuff. Knockoff stoof.
Stoof.
You got some of the stoof.
Stoof and Hager.
You got some of the taste. Doesn't quite get the same craving.
Taster's taste choice. All right. So the Hobgoblin puppets were operated by a woman who had recently been released from a mental hospital.
Okay.
The film was shot without any permits.
Even better.
Sloane, the director, claims to have written the first draft of this movie before Gremlins came out or whatever.
Very well could be. I got a fun story about that. Well, I'll save it for whenever we review those movies.
He did not see the puppets for the Hobgoblin until the night before the first day of shooting. The film studio in the movie was in a parking lot that was deserted at night next to a crack house.
Okay.
The voices of the Hobgoblins are pit bulls growling. So some people that could have been cast as Fantasia or somebody named Angeline or Sybil Danning.
These were people that were
considered. Yeah, Carrie French was considered for Amy's spot, and for the studio owner John Carradine. Who did
Carrie French play? Because she's in this movie. But she was up for Amy, and so she got another role in this film. I read her name in the credits. Maybe she was. There's not too many women in this.
I don't know why I wrote that. Maybe
who played Amy?
Thing is, I don't remember why I wrote that. Amy was played by Paige Sullivan.
You probably wrote that down because she's still in the movie, but was up for Amy.
Yeah, she's a Pixie.
Okay, so she was up for Amy, but she ended up being Pixie. Yeah, interesting.
The hair. And then they wanted John Carradine for the studio.
I'm surprised he didn't do it, because he does a lot of low-budget schlock.
Let's see, do I get anything
No, they probably couldn't afford him, especially for $15,000.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been, I don't know. I know Carradine stars in a lot of schlock, but he's got to be worth more than that.
So it has a 2.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Oh, yeah, it's notoriously low.
Doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes critics consensus score. It does have an audience score. 11% is the audience score.
Really?
Yes.
I know this is one of those so bad it's good movies that people would actually thought they would actually like it, but oh well. I mean, yes, is it a good movie? No, but is it so bad it's good? I think so. But we'll cover that in the last bite. You got anything else for me?
I don't. I'm fresh out.
All right, with that, it's time to take the last bite. Is Hobgoblins a good movie? God, no. But is it a so bad it's good movie? Absolutely. It has everything you would want in a classic bad movie experience. You have ridiculously low-budget special effects of questionable quality and a silly, nonsensical plot. Plus, you are treated to cheesy, silly, and subpar acting, although some of it is surprisingly competent, even if not great in a lot of spots. Still, the characters, while one-dimensional, are fun, play their parts well, and are enjoyable and enhance the experience, unlike the sequel that came years later. Please don't make us review that one next time for Awful August. There are plenty more bad movies to cover that would be more entertaining, trust me. There are several very memorable and ludicrous scenes, like the rake fight and the Fantasia fantasy. See what they did there? Very clever movie. However, there weren't many quotable lines that stick out to me, like some other so bad it's good movies, like Troll 2, for example. You can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it. Or, oh my God. Nothing really jumps out of me like that as quotable from this. The score and soundtrack were actually pretty good and awesome. Both vintage 80s with the Fontanelles music being something that I would easily listen to without watching the movie. And the score, while very generic like I said, still felt very 80s with that sweet synth sound that adds to the enjoyment of the movie. I'm not sure if this was the goal, since oftentimes these types of movies start out as a serious attempt at a film, but overall Hobgoblins is very fun and silly, and something you can gather some friends and have a bad movie night and have a laugh and a good time while viewing. But before I can grade, we have a very important question to answer here. How good can a so bad it's good movie be in the grading scale? I mean, by definition, it's a bad movie. So kind of establish a rating guideline here for so bad it's good movies. As always, it comes down to each person's taste. Some people have a riot and love these type of films. I find many highly entertaining myself, but most aren't as funny as some of my favorite true comedies. The best I could honestly give these types of film is probably 3.5 pancakes, and maybe 4 for some of the best of the lot, like maybe Plan 9 or Something Bad, but with plenty of spectacular gore effects that look very good. As for Hobgoblins, it is a solid so bad it's good movie. I would gladly recommend it to anyone looking for a few cheap laughs. You could always do worse in this category. Cough, things, cough, cough. So, my overall rating for Hobgoblins is 3 pancakes. So that takes us to you, Scary Perry, and for your last bite.
This movie is something else. So let me see. What are some nice things to say about this movie? Yes, some of the comedic stuff was okay. Yeah, the soundtrack was good. Meow.
What was that?
What the cat? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really, like, I know I get it. There's like odd stuff in here, like the stick or rake fight, whatever. Rake hoe.
I just call it the rake fight because it's
Rake
too
fight.
tough to say, like garden
I'm
implements.
like, what is going on? I get it, or I don't get it. Why they put it in the movie, but it was really odd. There's a lot of odd stuff in this movie. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
but let's see. Some of the costumes are goofy. I'm just going right to it. I didn't like this movie. I'm trying to. It has a couple okay things for comedy and soundtrack, and I get it. Like you're saying, how to rate this on a "it's so bad it's good" movie. Well, there's a lot of bad movies that I saw that are better than this. Better.
I still really like this one. It's fun.
Like obviously you can compare everything, even though it's not a horror to The Room. It's almost as random them throwing footballs and tuxedos to fighting with rakes. Maybe comparable.
I don't know. I'll take your word for it. I've never seen The Room.
So it has nothing to really do with anything. But honestly, I didn't like this movie. I mean, I guess it does have, a cult following, and some people like it, obviously, with the cult following.
Well, Things has a cult following too.
Yeah, I'm sure every movie has a cult following. But yeah, this was not for me. Do I recommend it as like one of the top worst horror movies to watch? No. I say you should watch it once in your lifetime. That's it. Once is enough. And with that said,
I've seen it 3 times now, technically.
that's okay.
Once originally, twice for preparing myself for this, and then the 3rd time to take notes.
All right. I really started to get bored after the club scene. It just started getting boring after that to me. I really trailed off.
Yeah, by then, after the club, it's almost done.
Well,
though.
like during I'm like, okay, the beginning, okay,
You got that music there.
Yeah, I
though.
understand, but that's like there's weird long scenes that are
Kiss,
weird.
Kickers, 99
That's a good song. I get it, but I just don't get it. So, with that said, maybe once in your lifetime movie when you got some extra time. I'm gonna have to give this movie 1 cannoli out of 5.
1 cannoli?
Yeah.
I think it's more deserving. 1 cannoli. That means it's worse than Chud.
This movie
is not worse than Chud. No.
Yes.
No.
I will tell you this
Nothing
movie's worse
happens
than
in Chud.
This movie is worse than Halloween 2.
Well, that's a given.
Well, that's not a given. But Chud is better. Chud has Daniel Stern.
That's
Daniel Stern's comedy outshines any of the comedy in this movie.
if you say so.
And John Hurd, rest in peace, was also good as well.
All right.
Sweaty palms?
Anyways, we'll have to disagree.
I could have my own
agree
opinion.
to disagree on that one,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I think it's a fun little time.
I know.
Especially if you like So Bad
I
It's
know
Good
Murky's
movies.
gonna be like, "What the fuck, man?" But that's just the way it is.
Need
That's
to come
my
up with
opinion.
a better in-universe name.
One.
That's all right. All right. You got anything else before we roll out here? Before we dine and dash?
Are we Transformers now?
No.
I'd rather watch a spin-off Transformers movie.
The knockoff Transformers?
Yeah.
The mockbusters?
Or whatever.
Have you ever seen a mockbuster before?
Nah.
Oh, man. I've never seen them. I've seen reviews of them. They're something else. Alrighty. Well, with that, as a reminder, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/themadpancaker. if you can, feel free to support us there. You can also follow us on social media everywhere. Perry is at Perry Scary on Facebook. I'm the Mad Pancaker on pretty much everything. And what other plugs I got to make? Oh, don't forget you can leave us a voicemail at anchor.fm/themadpancaker or at themadpancaker.com. And you can go there and listen to our episodes as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your podcast app.
Let us know what you thought of this movie.
Yeah.
Maybe you thought it was, a 3 or a 1 or even more.
Maybe you thought it was a 5.
Or even less.
But yeah.
I didn't bomb the movie. I gave it a 1.
All right.
I don't know what our bomb should be called.
It's just 0. For me, it's just 0 pancakes.
Yeah.
The empty plate.
I'm not gonna give this an empty plate.
But subscribe to us on podcast of choice, share the podcast, and give us a review, preferably 5 stars. You can shit on us in the comment of your 5-star review, but it helps the podcast grow and spread. And like I said, word of mouth helps a lot. And with that, join us next time. And all things considering, so this is going to be our only episode in September. I know it's supposed to come out in August, technically, but if everything goes right, join us next time when it should be 20 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 20 more days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Until then, until next time, check please.
Delores!
The International House of Horror.